One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
And to Eugene's point, it's important that, Donald Trump runs like he was never president, like he doesn't have a record. And whatever the phenomena is of people having not so terrible memories of his first term, it is very dangerous that they think that way, because they think, okay, we've already seen that movie. I can live with it for 4 more years, but it's not the same movie. It's the sequel to Scream, where it's just that much bloodier. The trajectory he's on with his
worst
thoughts,
actors.
the trajectory that he's on with his thoughts, his language, his health, his mental health, his cognitivity. I mean, if he, God forbid, is elected a year from now, Joe Biden is going to have the biggest "I told you so" laugh in American history. And that's what people have to think about. Not just the guy who throws paper towels sometimes, and like, oh, that's funny, that's stupid, whatever it is. This guy is saying what he wants to do. I've been sued once in my life, and it was by Donald Trump. And, there are people, you're a journalist. You and I might be sharing a cell in 6 months from now.
If you don't want to be called Nazis, stop doing
You're called an
anti-Semite.
You've been called an anti-Semite more than anyone else's table.
Yeah.
And people would sit there and, no, by me. I never called you an anti-Semite. Okay. I'm not sitting here saying
I'm a supporter of the Palestinians, so I'm used to it.
Yeah, I hope your beeper doesn't go off. The thing is that...
Did you just say I should die?
You should not.
No,
Did you just say I should be killed?
No, I did not say that.
So what you're about to see over the next 10 minutes or so before Trump gets on is the absolute meltdown of the media. Trump broke them with that Madison Square Garden rally, just completely obliterated them. And this panel on CNN, the result of it was a complete, utter train wreck, which resulted in one of the guys being fired on the spot after this interview. The guy right there on screen who just said, hey, I hope your beeper doesn't go off. Meanwhile, the other guy called all Trump supporters and Trump, Nazis. That's okay on CNN. But this guy said, well, I hope your beeper doesn't go off. And all hell is about to break loose. It's delicious.
No, I did not say that.
Hold on. Did you just say I should be killed on live TV?
I said I hope you don't.
Let me just stop.
You said you hope my beeper doesn't go off.
Because you sound a big supporter of
Of the Palestinians.
Hamas?
Guys, let
I
me
said
stop.
Palestinians.
Are you?
Am I what? No, of course I'm not.
Palestinians are not-
I
Are
apologize.
you a
Ryan,
racist, violent person inciting violence against me?
Ryan,
That's disgusting.
that is completely.
No, I apologize.
That
Good
is
job, CNN.
completely
Let's have first
out
block
of
say the
pocket.
Muslim guy
You
should
know
be
that.
blown
Then I
up
apologize.
on
Then I
TV.
apologize.
Don't
Then I
say
apologize.
then I
Wow.
apologize. You literally.
say
I
it.
thought you said
accused
Hamas.
him.
I
You didn't
apologize.
think I said
No.
Hamas.
No,
I
you
said I
didn't.
supported
Yes, I
Palestine.
As you're watching this, realize this is a nationally broadcast show on a major news network. And they can't. Oh my God! It's like perfect.
Palestinian
Yes, I
rights.
did.
Why? Because when you hear
What's funny
Palestinian,
is
you
Rudy
hear Hamas.
Giuliani said this
No,
yesterday,
because-
so you're a great guest to
Listen.
be here
All
to
right,
defend
I
Rudy
told
Giuliani.
myself
Give me
I
one-
wasn't going to
give me-
entertain
give me one
nonsense
second.
today, and so at this point,
This is what we're in
I
now.
can't
This
do
is America in
Here's what
2024.
I will say.
Forget the
Here's what
racism.
That's right.
It's I should
That's
die.
right.
I didn't
That's-
say that. You
You
should
said,
die.
what does beeper mean? Don't give me your
I
fake
did not say
ignorance.
you should
Guys,
die.
Why did you say
guys,
with my
give me-
beeper
give me
go?
a-
What did you mean?
What did you mean by the beeper?
So what
I
did
said-
you mean?
What did you mean by the
No,
beeper?
no, no, no.
No, you didn't. You said, I hope your beeper doesn't go off.
Ryan.
2024, the election of the century, has reduced these people to absolute banshees. They can't even control themselves anymore. You have to understand, you're on the air on a major network. You're being broadcast live. Whether there are 5 or 6 people there, and they just completely lose it. It's like they forgot the cameras were rolling, that there were people in airports across the country watching this and going, what the hell am I watching? Trump broke them. No other definition for this.
Stop talking.
At least
sorry.
have the guts to
I'm
support
so
your racist
sorry.
comment.
Hang
I'm
on.
so sorry.
Yeah, let her bring it back. Let her bring it back.
This is
Hang on.
why. This is why yesterday's rally was disgusting.
Don't call us Nazis,
and
but I'm gonna
outrageous.
threaten the brown guy as a
This is
terrorist
why.
and kill him.
Because I didn't ever say Donald Trump was Hitler. But do you know who stood on a stage yesterday and said, I want to come to the Nazi rally? I don't have to make up words and call you something. You're saying it for yourself. And what you just said
Kamala
right
Harris is
here,
a pimp.
apologize, but I will tell you, I don't accept that apology, and you didn't even
That's
say it to
fine.
me.
I didn't say it
that
to
was
you.
disgusting. But I can
I don't care if you accept an apology. I don't care. Who the hell are you?
be offended when you don't even say it
That's-
to me. I'm not Puerto Rican, but I was offended by what he said
Okay.
yesterday. And I'm offended that the former president and potentially future president would allow it and go for 12 hours and not say, I don't care. Because you know what? When Kamala Harris put out statements about switching up opinions, it wasn't good enough for Republicans.
Why are you looking at me?
Because you said it.
Why
'Cause
don't you
I'm-
take this back a little?
This was not.
And it just happened all day in the media. You realize at this point, they know it's over. You know, they may try to do some shenanigans. They may try to pull off some sort of cheating. But for all intents and purposes, this thing is over. They know it's over. And they're clawing and fighting for their lives at this point. They have no idea what to do. Trump broke them. There's no other explanation. As you're watching this stuff evolve and be shown on national television, it's a comedy at this point. They realize when Kamala Harris loses, not if, when Kamala Harris loses, they lose as well. You see, Trump has already made inferences. He's going to use the FCC to stop this BS that these people put out. And smart people are beginning to see the light, but the other dumb ones, they're gonna go until the wheels fall off. They're gonna just keep pushing the insanity as far as they can, especially this woman.
This was a hate rally. This was not just a presidential rally. This was also not just a campaign rally. I think it's very important for people to understand that these are mini January 6 rallies.
Do they not realize nobody cares? Nobody cares. You know what people care about? They care about Trump winning. They care about gas prices. They care about grocery prices. They care about rent. They care about their mortgage payment. They care about taxes. And today with Steve Bannon getting out of jail and going directly to the studio, he's going to rip these people a new one. I mean, it's good. Don't venture from your studios. The real world is going to be too tough for you guys to exist in about, I'd say, 8 days, 7 days.
These are mini Stop the Steal rallies. These are rallies to prime an electorate into rejecting the results of an election if it doesn't go the way that they want. Because Donald Trump and that entire cadre of people up on that stage, Stephen Miller, etc., do not respect the law of the United States of America.
We're going to find out how they respect the law, won't we? Yep. We already see them trying to make us accept newcomers to vote. You got Department of Justice suing Virginia to make sure that they do not take newcomers off the voter rolls. It's insane. These are the same people who sit in the studio and go, the Trump's people are doing some bad things. Hey, can we sue and make sure these newcomers stay on the rolls? Because we need to have these newcomers vote. Never mind the fact that I'm saying the word newcomers. Talking about violating the law, you might want to tell some of these people who run these networks that we have First Amendment, but that doesn't seem to be stopping anybody. You got to use different words. You got to have codes. Make sure that people don't understand that what you're talking about. That the bots that they crawl the videos, make sure you stay in line, stay right here. Don't go outside the box. And you want to talk to us about not observing law, and that's like the First Amendment? But you have no problem with that. Oh, you had a problem with Elon Musk because he's allowing the First Amendment to prosper. I don't know if you guys saw, and I'll show it to you later after the press conference, all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes right now, how YouTubers, not me yet, are getting these letters from the New York Times saying, hey, listen, we're going to expose Benny Johnson, and we're going to expose Tucker Carlson, and Ben Shapiro, and Tim Pool, and we're going to do what we can to show people that you're purveyors of misinformation with the hope of YouTube demonetizing you or completely banning your channel, right before the election. That's going on right now. These people are getting emails and letters from the New York Times saying, hey, listen, we've gone through your videos and we need you to explain this, and this. And we want to know if you're monetized on YouTube, which they can already check. They already know. And we want to know, have you been banned or have any enforcement from YouTube yet? They're doing everything they can at this point on these big conservatives going full steam ahead, trying to censor them. And we got this woman up here talking about, oh, well, the Republicans don't follow the law.
And they either want to win this election or they are using rhetoric of taking it by force. Mm-hmm. That is what they mean, and that's what they're doing when they are inciting violence and hatred.
Does she know the definition of rhetoric? Because it's obvious she doesn't know the definition of irony.
Against Latinos, against Black Americans, against Americans who don't have children, you have J.D. Vance literally talking about watering down people's right to vote.
As I said yesterday, she obviously doesn't understand the definition of literal either.
Depending on if they can viably carry a child or not. We have to understand how unhinged this campaign has gotten, and the only reason that the rhetoric has gotten this far is precisely because they are trying to prime the kind of froth that led up to the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Mm-hmm. And so it's very important that we connect those dots. And right now,
who are you connecting the dots for? Specifically, I just want to know. I just saw 20,000 people in Madison Square Garden, another 90,000 outside. You don't think that we can think for ourselves? We need you to connect the dots? Or are you talking about the idiots who watch that show? Because I'm wondering who the dots of connection need to be forwarded to, because they don't seem to have any clue. So you're admitting that your audience is gonzo.
The campaign is scrambling, and they're trying to blame this rhetoric on a so-called comedian. This is not a comedian. This is the Trump campaign. They invited this rhetoric on their stage for a reason. It was a chorus of...
You know what's funny? She says he's not a comedian. Jon Stewart, on Jon Stewart's left-leaning Daily Show, completely showed that they were idiotic for saying everything they did. Obviously, Jon Stewart is no friend of Donald Trump, but he actually came out and said, the guy's a comedian. He's a roast comedian. That's what he is. You may not like it, but he's gone to events like the Tom Brady roast and roasted people. And he said some really, funny things about everybody on the stage. He called Gronk a Nazi. He made fun of Kevin Hart's diminutive stature. Somehow that was all okay, no problem there. But you make fun of the garbage in Puerto Rico, and they want to have your head.
Speakers on that campaign for a reason. It was vetted, and they knew exactly who was going to say what before they went on. And so the only backtracking that they're doing right now is just because,
like I said yesterday, there's no backtracking.
Tens of thousands of Puerto Ricans happen to live in Philadelphia, Florida, Michigan, Wisconsin, and also the several swing seats in the House of Representatives that run through the state of New York. And they're just realizing that they might have made a big error by saying out loud what they're thinking.
They're terrible.
Except for one problem, Miss AOC. You people who believe in these polls, the polls are saying otherwise. The polls are specifically saying, yeah, we don't care. We're voting for Trump. Now you got Susan Rice, who is probably one of the biggest behind-the-scenes puppeteers. She's one of the people who basically pulls the strings on behalf of Obama. And she's out here. She's really upset. She's really upset because it's dangerous. Things are dangerous. We can't do this. It's crazy.
Terrified of effective, smart, strong women and leaders in the United States. Secondly, they embrace and laud and praise dictators like Xi and Putin, with whom they want to become closer when they are our most formidable adversaries. These people are dangerous. Donald Trump hugs dictators. He's about to have a rally reminiscent of 1939, cheering on Nazi Germany. The people who've spoken in that rally.
I don't know who ran this campaign. I don't know who came up with this messaging, but they're going to be studying this for decades on how not to run a campaign. Whoever came up with this messaging and thought it was cool to label 100,000 people, including in and out, plus the millions who watched online, as Nazis? And you thought that was going to go well for you? You thought that might somehow, sway some people to vote for Kamala by insulting everybody? You were worried about a comedian doing a joke about Puerto Rico. This many people, Puerto Rico. That really bothered you. But you felt no problem of insulting all these people who support Trump. White, black, Puerto Rican, Cuban, Chinese, Vietnamese, Americans. You have no problem insulting them. But it's problematic for you that some comedian who a lot of people hadn't heard of, in your mind, insulted Puerto Ricans. Even though Puerto Ricans, for the most part, are like, yeah, it was funny. It was a joke. I may not have liked it, but it was a joke. But the irony of this is you don't understand, or you are ignoring the entirety of your missed calculation by going out on all these news shows and saying, you know what, we're going to one-up this comedian because this comedian only did this much. We're going to say all of you who support Trump's are brown shirts. All of you are dangerous. All of you are basically little Nazis. Even though you're black, Jewish, Spanish. And I'm thinking back, do they not realize as they're going on television, they are doing 500x what that guy did on stage with that 1 10-second joke. That's how out of touch they are.
Already have been a litany of attacks on black voters, on Latino voters, on Arab American voters.
What attacks? You guys see any attacks? No? You? No. What attacks have there been on Latino and black voters? I guess that misinformation is fine.
Voters. I mean, that's the divisive, dark, evil threat that Donald Trump poses, all encapsulated right there at Madison Square Garden. I think it's all about rallying a hateful, retro America First, which in the time of 1939, that was an America First rally. This is about recalling a time when, white supremacy and affinity.
Hold on. I'm confused. So, MAGA, Make America Great Again, Make America Great Again, which encompasses everybody, and America First, which is about making America more prominent. Those are bad things, huh? That's the message you want to go on. You want to talk about people who want to improve America, who want America to be in a better position. Those are the bad guys, which would then make you anti-American. Think about what she's saying and what all these people are saying. If MAGA and America First are bad, then what do you guys believe in? America second, third, fourth, 10th? Has anyone ever asked these people that? If you take those two terms, which are basically, I find the top way you could describe a politician. I want to put America first, and I want to make America great again. If you disagree with those two things, what does that define you? And I never heard anybody ask them that. So what would you like to do with America? If you don't want to make America great again, do you actually want to make America great? If you don't want to make America first, what's your plan? America fourth, fifth, sixth? What do you want to do? Since both those terms seem to offend you. Can somebody even ask that question and ask them, where do you see America in the pecking order of things?
For Nazism was paramount. And when you have General John Kelly sharing with the American people his direct experience with Donald Trump, who said he wants his own generals to be like Hitler's, and that Hitler did some good things. This is, in Donald Trump, somebody who emulates and admires Hitler. And this rally is a not at all subtle attempt to hearken back to that. They can deny it all they want.
See, when somebody makes that statement, I mean, other than your parents, I mean, those of us who grew up in somewhat strict households, you can say what you want. But I'm going to tell you how it is. Okay, Mom. Okay, Dad. You can think you're a big dude, big man on campus, but I'm going to tell you how it is. That means is I don't care what you have to say. What you feel and what you think don't matter. They can say whatever they want, but I'm going to tell you how it is. It's something you don't say to adults. You say that to children. You say that to players on your team that you're coaching. I'm going to tell you what you're going to do. Yes, coach. You're in my classroom. I'm going to tell you how to act. Well, they can't do that anymore, but it'd be, yes, ma'am. You don't say, I'm going to tell you how it is to a free-thinking adult. I don't care what you have to say. You can say whatever you want. I'm going to tell you how it is. You can take that and stick it where the sun don't shine. You're not going to tell me how I have to think and then tell me at the same time that you're discounting everything I have to say. You can say whatever you want, but I'm going to tell you what it really means.
That were true, they wouldn't have xenophobic, racist people standing up making hateful speeches as they are doing as we speak.
They must put this stuff out there for people who are numbskulls. What part of Tucker, Tulsi, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he broke them. And they had to come together in some sort of think tank to say, okay, what do we do? How do we frame this? Because everybody's seeing this in hundreds, thousands, and millions of people. And he was just on Joe Rogan and 30 million people, and nobody wants to hear what Kamala has to say. How do we frame this? Oh, we frame this at, y'all Nazis. This will go down in the annals of marketing as one of the stupidest things ever. Most importantly right now, Coke is really happy. You have basically made New Coke no longer the villain in marketing. It's completely off the charts what you have done here. This man and I don't know what he's going to talk about in today's press conference, but this man has systematically taken the entirety of the media and broke them down to the point where they've become babbling idiots. They don't make any sense anymore. These are people who've been paid millions to sit in front of cameras and lights and microphones and talk to you and tell you what the news is and what it should be. And he's completely made them speak in bad tongues. They don't know what to say. This is not an original thought from this woman. This is not an original thought from anybody you've seen thus far. They are caught flat-footed. They don't know what message will work with the American people anymore, which is why they have to cheat. They don't have a choice but to cheat. They don't have any messaging. And they keep going with it over and over. It's just not working. And I'm wondering, is there nobody, including Obama, sitting back and going, hey man, I'm seeing the numbers. This ain't working. We can't keep doing this. People are tuning us out. They're laughing at us, as I am right now.
And God knows what Donald Trump is going to say, but he's already been clear. He views the American people, anybody who may differ with him or oppose his perspective, as being the, quote, enemy from within.
I would love to know, as I just said, who disagrees with the perspective of America first? Who disagrees with Make America Great, whether it's now or again? Nobody can tell me what the difference in perspective is. Probably because communists wouldn't be able to really tell you, because if they told you, then they would have a bigger problem.
And his response to that is to promise that he is prepared to use the military of the United States against his domestic opposition. Al, I can't...
Which he's never said. He's talking about quelling riots. Quelling riots. People burning cities down, which y'all let happen. You didn't care. And you did that over St. George Floyd.
Think of anything more terrifying than that, when, in particular, when you consider that when Donald Trump was president, he had plans and intentions to use the military and was only held back by people like Kelly and General Mattis and
turncoats. Funny, though, he never did the authorization that Biden did, that new Defense Department authorization, which allows the military to use pew-pews on civilians. You can't even talk about it. Go look it up. He signed an authorization where the military, directed by the Biden administration, can be, take people out. In addition, some people are finding now that there's a new clause inserted into their insurance terms and conditions, which says if you are hurt during the participation in a, quote, insurrection, they will deny you coverage. Never defining what an insurrection is and who will define that. Check your insurance policies.
General Milley and even Bill Barr and Mike Pence, those people won't be there if there were to be a second Trump term. And the Supreme Court has said that Donald Trump and any president can do whatever they want with impunity. So these are deadly serious threats that we have to take seriously. We have many, many good reasons to vote for Kamala Harris, who is smart, who wants to unify the nation, who's got programs and policies to help working people with the concerns they have about high costs. And
why is she doing it now? That's a question you can ask any of your Democrat friends. Any liberal who spews this stuff. She's got good ideas. She's got good policies. Why isn't she doing it? They'll never ask that on MSNBC or CNN. But it's a real easy thing. You can sit there at lunch or whatever and they go, blah, 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 Kamala's going to do that. And then when they're done talking, just, why isn't she doing it now? Huh? Yeah, just answer that. I'm not even going to argue with you. I'll wait.
Housing and groceries and health care and Medicare and Social Security. But Donald Trump poses a deadly serious threat, and people need to understand what's at stake.
Third election in a row.
All right, so.
In which Russia has tried to interfere.
When all else fails, When you can't use Nazism and you can't call everybody brown shirts, you got to go back to the playbook, flip it back a few pages, and just go, "What? Oh, this one might have worked. Can we go with this one?"
Try to get Trump into the White House. How do you assess the magnitude and the type of interference they're attempting this year compared to what they've done in his previous 2 elections?
Well, as you said earlier, Rachel, he's at it again. This time he's not even trying to hide his hand, and he has far more sophisticated tools. You know, his AI is better, so he can make these fake videos. He has done things like spend $10 million trying to buy American influencers and get them parroting his line.
How much did they pay Beyonce? You know, Beyonce, who didn't even sing a song. How about Taylor Swift? How about, Lizzo? Okay.
And not even know it's happening. But he's also got a brand new, very, very powerful tool, which is Elon Musk and X. In 2020, the social media.
Oh, because he's tearing down the media as you know it. And Elon Musk has got this great big platform that we used back in 2020 to silence everybody and just basically boot them if they had an opposing opinion, and we could just delete them off the app. But now Elon Musk spent $44 billion and he's letting these people talk. And he's friends with Trump.
Companies worked hard with the U.S. government to try to do content moderation, to try to...
Content moderation, i.e. censorship.
Catch this stuff as it was happening, but this time we have Elon Musk talking directly to the Kremlin and ensuring that every time the Russians put out something like this, it gets 5 million views on X before anybody can catch it. So it's...
What do you mean catch it? It's like it's a fish or some sort of wild animal that you're going to catch. You can see it. I can see it. What do you mean catch? Oh, because you're still using terms from 2020 when you took it upon yourself to basically, delete that. Tell, Jack Dorsey and his minions, delete that. And now you don't have that control and it's freaking you out. Trump broke you.
It's quite dangerous. Although I do think the American electorate has gotten more sophisticated and more savvy about this stuff.
More savvy? You mean they're flocking to X? Because of the crazy censorship on Facebook and somewhat here, and X is growing exponentially to the point where it's the #1 downloaded app in the world every single month lately. The #1 news app over New York Times, WAPO, everything else. You mean no savvy people? Well, then you might be right, because the savvy people understand that's where news is unfiltered. That's where you get to talk to people and interact and see what's going on. It's not under the auspices of a news channel. Now we can just go and see whatever we want, post it, talk about it. And the savvy part is we learn to discern what's BS and what's not. And funny, most of the BS is from liberal-leaning profiles. They completely lie. They obfuscate truth, or they try to omit it, and then they get called out instantly.
You don't go to other rallies for Harris or see in a Harris rally that kind of vitriol. It just
I showed this yesterday. I just thought it was so perfect. This guy is a perfect example of being broken by Trump. Just snapped in half. You can look at his frantic face. He can't understand. He's lying. And again, he doesn't expect to be called out. There's no methodology that they have mastered that allows them to quickly respond when they're called out on their BS.
See, look, I don't think you do.
Kamala Harris spends half her time talking about her rival as Hitler. After he's been, there have been attempts on his life, not once, but twice. She's doing it right now. Every Democrat official at these rallies refers to him as Adolf Hitler. You got Hillary Clinton running around there hawking her book that nobody wants to buy, frankly. And
smack him down, Byron. Just give him the backhand across the face.
And she's talking about how this is akin to 1939. Are you out of your mind? You want to talk about rhetoric? Let's compare, but let me go back. We are talking about the comments of a comedian.
Right.
And everybody's going to forget it in 48 hours. The real joke in America is the terrible policy of Kamala Harris. Let's talk specifically about Puerto Ricans in America today. Puerto Ricans have had to live under the same inflation unleashed by Kamala Harris. And that's not a joke, but they got to live with it. Puerto Ricans today are living under the same terrible border policies that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris unleashed. That's a terrible joke on the American people. We should be focused on that.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that.
I mean, I do think.
And this is the guy that's causing all of this. This is the guy who's causing the breakdown of the media in conjunction with Trump. They're working hand in hand, and it's snapping the media.
I think like that old school journalism, I call it legacy media because it is kind of legacy media, because it is from a time when, in order to learn any news, you had to aggregate the news to some central publication, and then some editor would decide what people should hear, and then they'd print the newspaper with
almost like a parent. I'm going to give my children dinner. I'm going to tell them what they should eat today, what they're going to consume. Here's your portion of vegetables, here's your portion of meat, protein, and here's some potatoes or rice, and this is what your dinner is going to be today. That is what the news has been up until about 2022 when he decided to step in and buy it. No longer are you being served news. No longer are you looking at liver on the plate and going, I don't even want to eat that shit. Now you're able to go basically to the refrigerator and go, oh, I want some of that, and I'd like some of that, and nobody's watching, so I can have a big steamy pile of this, and you eat what you want. It's like the ultimate Chinese buffet. Not that I ever go to one. No, I don't go to buffets much. But you understand what I'm saying. You walk down the buffet line. It goes and goes and goes. It's like X. It just goes and goes and goes. And you can say, yeah, I'd like some of that. Oh, I'd like some of that. I don't want any of that stuff. What's that? It looks like bait. I don't want that. And you just keep going and you basically partake what you want to. That's what X is. It's a giant news buffet, and you can choose to eat what you feel like eating. Eat what you take, though. You don't want to just look at stuff and then delete it. You want to look at it and take it, digest it. Robin was sitting on a couch with me yesterday, and she was, oh my God, this is fantastic. Have you seen this? And I'm like, what is it? Oh, it's this guy did an 11-hour talk on the moon, and honey, that's bait. That's the kind of sushi I'm not eating. I love you. I know this is really interesting to you, but I don't really care. See, that's the beauty of X. You can go find what interests you. You can go see anything you want, including some of the bad stuff. But if that's what you choose to do, there's no mom looking over your shoulder going, you can't eat that. Nope, we're not going to have that at the table. It ain't going to happen. You got to be an adult. I mean, I've seen some people in some of my streams go, I don't like X because, X has like porn and stuff. Well, that's on you. Delete, block, and you'll never see that person or stuff again. I don't think people understand the control you have on X and what you can decide to watch and not watch. There's this thing called the block button. Block that person if they talk about that. There's this thing called blocked words. So if you don't want to see any sort of content that has certain words, you can put those words in. So if you don't want to see porn, block the words PU, you know what, and CO, you know what, and CU, you know what. You have the control, not the media. I don't want to see anything that says this stuff. I don't think enough people on X understand the power of what you control and how you can determine specifically how to curate the information that comes to you and the information that you go out and seek. Did you know it has a search engine? Oh yeah, you can actually type in stuff. Hey, tell me about the Miami Dolphins sucking right now. Oh, I didn't know all that stuff was there. That's fantastic. Tell me what Trump said about Michelle Obama. Oh, that's specifically timely what I want. You can't do that with MSNBC. You can't do that with CNN. they are toast. He has broken the media model. And everybody, as you've been seeing, is scrambling to figure out what the hell to do.
Like a lot of paper, literally, and then distribute that paper, and that's how you learn things. But you obviously don't need that anymore. You've got the internet, so anyone can learn anything at any time. Yeah, that's why X is the future. It's citizen journalism, where you hear from the people, it's by the people, for the people. That's what it's all about.
Citizen journalism. I'm trying to help people along with that. If you haven't been to our group and wanted to, basically have a Twitter with training wheels, go ahead and go here. Go to our group, fanfareshop.org/group. This is an old graphic. We are now approaching 7,000 patriots in there. Doesn't cost you a dime, but you get to partake of what you want. You don't have to go out into the big boy pond right away. So you haven't missed anything. Trump hasn't showed up yet, so let's continue.
I think this is a super big deal, and it's absolutely fundamental and transformative that the people actually get to decide the news and what the narrative and what matters, and that the legacy media is basically controlled by a handful of editors-in-chief. That's it. They just
after the press conference, I'm going to show you what one of those people decided to do and how it's freaking out everybody in the media.
Decide what's going to get published. That's why I really encourage everyone out there to write stuff on the X platform and other platforms too. But citizen journalism is the future, and that's where you get to hear from actual experts in the field.
Some people have asked me, what is citizen journalism? It's you. It's me. It's Robin. It's Ashley. Citizen journalism is that if you see something, take a picture, take a video, write about it, and get it out there. Citizen journalism is you are the media. We are all the media. We are all our own brand at this point. Oh yeah, you may not have realized it, but you have a brand. You are at this point no different, except ideology, I'm talking about presence, than any of the people on any of these networks. In fact, you're probably more apt to find out information. Most of them are high-paid talking heads who just stroll into the studio, go into makeup, go into hair, and read from a teleprompter. You are now the media. You are now important than all of them. You can collectively get together and create a story that can catch fire. Do it. Absolutely do it. Trump has paved the way. Trump has broken the media along with Elon Musk to allow you to basically be the media.
Who are experts in any given industry, and you get to hear the rebuttal. So if somebody says something that's wrong or requires more context, people can add that. X has got community notes, which is great. So community notes, I think, is got a very good batting average. It's not perfect, but it's got a very good batting average. Many times
they've even gone after him. Community notes. Hey, Elon, what you just said there wasn't true. That picture you posted, nope, that wasn't real. So it even community notes him.
I've gotten requests like, can we get rid of this community note? I'm like, no, we cannot. Not even a community note on myself. Mm-hmm. So with community notes, all the code is open source, all the data is open source, so you can recreate any given community note independently. And that transparency is how you know that it's true, and it's real, and it's honest.
By now, most Americans are aware that big media is corrupt and dishonest. Like magicians, they use the art of redirection to lure your attention, then deceive you. As a case study, let's replay this infamous clip from 2017.
But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
To this day, Democrats insist that former President Trump has failed to disavow the racist elements within that crowd.
And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side.
There are very fine people on both sides.
my God. That's what he said.
Would it shock you to learn that exactly 50 seconds after Mr. Trump made that initial comment,
Very fine people on both sides.
he then said this?
And I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
The fact-checking sites finally debunking Democrats' claims that then-President Trump called neo-Nazis and white nationalists, quote, very fine people.
Ask yourself, how did they hide this for 7 years? Then ask yourself, what else are they hiding?
That Donald Trump would invoke Adolf Hitler.
Described American fallen soldiers as suckers and losers.
He's determined to convince you there is a crisis at the border.
Quote, it doesn't cost $60,000 to bury an effing Mexican.
Warning of a, quote, bloodbath if he loses the election.
Admitting that he will, in fact, be a dictator.
Called for the suspension of the Constitution.
And is a sexist and a sexual harasser.
They're playing the public. You.
If we are ever going to heal as a nation, we must demand integrity from those entrusted as the broadcasters of critical information. Together, we will pull back the curtain to expose and hold accountable every network of deception. Without truth, there is no trust. Without trust, there is no unity. Without unity, there is no United States.
Paid for by Maha Alliance, and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
That is where independent media is headed, where now you can help unite this country. You don't have to rely on these people to lie and obfuscate and basically just invent news. As I've said many times before, you wouldn't accept it in your own interpersonal relationships. If you knew somebody was lying to you over and over and over again, most likely they would no longer be in your circle of friends or people that you want to associate with. Why do we do that with the news? Why do we know that they're lying and then depend on them to basically tell us what's really going on? For years. And then people still tune into that crap. Trump and Elon, and I guess Maha, so that's RFK Jr. to a certain extent, are breaking and tearing all of those facades down, crushing those pillars, making them conform, driving them bat poop crazy, because they no longer control what you will see. And when Trump wins this election, he is going to show everybody that these people are nothing but monoliths of hate. They're a tool of deception, and they're outright communistic. With everything that's going on right now, with them trying to attack all of the large conservatives, and thankfully I'm not there yet, but who knows, I might get the email. They don't want us speaking. They don't want you speaking. They don't want you hearing what other people speak. Why? Because they know they lie. They can't cover it up. It used to be they could do it and cover up really quickly. But within minutes, people knew that CBS edited that interview with Kamala Harris. Within minutes. Now, today, we find out the interview they did with Tom Homan, they did the same thing. I don't know if you know that Kamala Harris was supposed to go on Joe Rogan. So today, she issued, let me back up. Joe Rogan posted that she's trying to change the terms and everything else, and I'm not accepting it, and people went nuts. Years ago, you would never have heard that. There would have been no way that you knew that Joe Rogan was approached by the Vice President of the United States and said, here are the terms she wanted. She wanted, I'm not coming to your studio like Trump. You're going to come to wherever I tell you. This is going to be a home field, number one. Number two, I'm not doing 3 hours. I'm only going to do 1 hour. What? And Rogan told her, go pound sand. Hopefully you'll change your mind. We're in a position, and this is where people were freaking out all day today on X. We're in a position that a podcaster has more media power than the friggin' Vice President of the United States. She's begging to get on his show. She wants her terms to dictate how that interview goes. And he's like, don't need you. Bye. Think about that for a second. Just let that sink in. That the vice president, who is normally CNN, MSNBC, ABC, would fall over themselves to get her to come on. And a podcaster said, no. Step. That's what they fear. That's why they fear you. That's why they fear me. They understand that we, and collectively, the enormity of we, have more power than even the politicians who run this country. That's why Trump got off his butt and said, you know what, hey, Barron, can you find out where I should go, who I should talk to? Because these people are who people care and listen to, not these idiots on television. Hey, Elon, can we do something on X? Yep, come on over, boy. Billions, with a B, billions of people. And Elon's not even a podcaster. They just did a space. We are in a post-media environment. Trump is going to hold a press conference here momentarily. You haven't missed anything while I've been talking. But he knows at this point, this is a formality. He's going to put out something here, but if he really wanted to see a message amplify, he'd go to Rogan. He'd go to Elon. This, whatever is coming out of here, is just something for them to feed on. Because it doesn't really get the kind of impact. I thank you. You guys are here at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning. But he knows where this is going to go, whatever he's going to say. And I have proof, absolute proof, that what's happening is working with Elon and Trump. And that proof is in the fact that Jeff Bezos said no more. We are no longer going to do this crap. We're not going to endorse a presidential candidate. We're going to be like the media is supposed to be. We're going to be Switzerland. We're not going to say anything. And the fact that that man said we're Switzerland caused liberals to go absolutely crazy. You cannot be Switzerland as far as they're concerned. You have to do what the lefties want. If you don't do it, I'm going to quit. You just told the second richest man in the world that if you don't do what I want, I'm going to quit. How do you think that worked out? Bye. And not only that, now we're going to bring in more conservatives to work at the Washington Post. The comment section under his article was absolutely, well, it was delicious. Absolutely delicious. I'm going to show you that article. We have a few minutes here. He has not walked out yet. So I want you to see this. This is just incredible. All right, so this is the article that Jeff Bezos wrote. I may have to do this so you guys can see it better and center it. All right. It's a quick, small little article. Jeff Bezos, as they had to explain, is the owner of the Washington Post. In the annual public surveys about trust and reputation, journalists and the media have regularly fallen near the bottom, often just above Congress. But in this year's Gallup's poll, which he linked, we have managed to fall below Congress. Our profession is now the least trusted of all. Trump broke down. Nobody trusts the media. These people are going on television all day long, and nobody really cares what they have to say. Something we are doing is clearly not working. So this is a man, second richest man in the world, who runs businesses and goes, hey man, we need to look at this. It's not working. We need to fix this. It's broken. Obviously it's broken. I'll go down here. Let me give you an analogy. Voting machines meet two requirements. They must count votes accurately, and people must believe they count the vote accurately. The second requirement is distinct from and just as important as the first. You guys are reporting to news, but the second part is people have to believe what you're saying, and that's not happening. He goes, likewise with newspapers, I'll say / websites, we must be accurate and we must be believed to be accurate. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but we are failing on the second requirement. My question to Jeff Bezos and everybody in the media is why being accurate and truthful would be perceived as being a bitter pill to swallow. Isn't that why you got into journalism? Isn't that why you bought the newspaper? That's the fundamental aspect of being in the media. And now he's saying it's a bitter pill to swallow. That make any sense to you? That's how far gone the media is. Because anyone who doesn't see this is paying scant attention to reality. Like the CNNBC guy was talking to Byron Donalds. He's like, you don't understand reality right now, man. He goes, those who fight reality lose. Kamala Harris, you want to go out there and call people Nazis? Those who fight reality lose. Reality is an undefeated champion. I might make a t-shirt out of that. Reality is an undefeated champion. Further, he goes, presidential endorsements do nothing to tip the scales of an election. I would go as far as to say presidential endorsements. Oh, he does say, he didn't, I'm sorry, my fault. I thought he was just saying newspapers. No, he says presidential endorsements, which includes celebrities. Beyonce, you're not moving the needle. Not at all, especially because you didn't sing. Lizzo, nah, ain't working. Presidential endorsements do nothing to tip the scales of an election. Further, what presidential endorsements actually do is create a perception of bias. Yes, it means what I'm listening to is not true. You have a bias. A perception of non-independence. Ending them is a principled decision, and it's the right one. So, Barry, you always talk about Trump. You're a Trump supporter. Are you, a victim of bias? Absolutely. But I can state that. I'm not the news trying to be an independent source of journalism. I am a pro-Trump, pro-conservative podcaster. I say it right in my handle, my bio up there. Say it on Twitter. This is who I am. I do not say I'm an independent news source because obviously I'm not an independent news source. I support Trump. The news for decades has tried to come across as though they are independent. And then what he says here is just great. That perception of independence, ending that is a principled decision, and it's the right one. And he goes back to 1933 from the people who published the Washington Post initially, is they wanted that independence. They wanted to be perceived as people who were actually just bringing you the news, and then you could decide for yourself. He goes, I would also like to be clear that no quid pro quo of any kind is at work here. He's not getting anything from Trump. He's not kissing the ring. He's made his decision. Lack of credibility isn't unique to the Post. True. Our brethren newspapers and news studios, I would say, networks, have the same issue. And it's a problem not only for media, but for the nation. Many people are turning to off-the-cuff podcasts, inaccurate social media posts, and other unverified news sources, which can quickly spread misinformation and deepen divisions. The Washington Post and the New York Times win prizes, but increasingly we only talk to a certain elite. More and more, we talk to ourselves. I.e., he's realizing X is killing them. The news, his own words, has become an echo chamber. Those panels on CNN, the only people paying attention to them are nuts and the other panelists. Nobody cares. It's like watching a clown show. You're not giving anybody information. You're screaming at each other. He knows that. You got to give Bezos credit for that. And then he goes, I will not allow this paper to stay on autopilot and fade into irrelevance. Might be too late. Overtaken by unresearched podcasts and social media barbs, not without a fight. It's too important. Yeah, because you got a big investment you're going to lose. The stakes are too high. Now more than ever, the world needs a credible, trusted, independent voice, and where better for that voice to originate than the capital city of the most important country in the world. To win this fight, we will have to exercise new muscles. I have an issue with that. As I said earlier, why are they new muscles? Why is it that you have to teach different muscle memory to people whose job is to be independent journalists? It tells you. He just told you everything you see on television, everything you read is fake. These people are complete nuts. They're in the tank. All they are liberal, basically puppets for the regime. It's all coming to an end. It's all being destroyed. It's all just crumbling down in front of their eyes, and they can't take it. And this man has now come out and said, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. It ain't working. He's smart enough to realize, number one, he's got a huge investment at stake. And number two, when shit's broke, you got to fix it. As Trump says, Trump will fix it. Bezos is like, I got to fix this. Meanwhile, MSNBC, CNN, NBC, all they're out there doing is talking about Nazis in an echo chamber that only people like them are listening to. I will give Jeff Bezos the credit that he's trying to do something. Will it work? I don't know. He's going to have a full-scale mutiny on his hands. It's actually happening. People are quitting left and right. The comment section, I'm unsubscribing. Oh, yeah, all the liberal nuts, I'm unsubscribing. I think he might have called Elon Musk and goes, Elon, if I make this decision, people are going to bail on me. What do I do? Elon probably said, do it. You got the money, absorb the hit, let them go. Let them flee someplace else. They did the same thing to Twitter. Let them do their boycotts. Let them scream and do everything. And then reemerge as a source of information that you want to be. Elon spent $44 billion, and you've seen the memes. He didn't spend $44 billion to buy Twitter. He spent $44 billion to create a free speech monolith, a mega force. And that's what he's doing. And what's happening is the advertisers are coming back. The advertisers will always follow the eyeballs. If the eyeballs are over here, all of their ideologies and crap is like, I got to sell product. At the bottom of every balance sheet of every country, every company in the country is, I need to sell my stuff. And if you are the place where I can sell more stuff and satisfy my stockholders and make money, that's where I'm going to advertise. No longer are people going to be beholden to the left nuttery and say, I can't advertise with you, I got to boycott. No longer can they orchestrate boycotts on Twitter, or X rather, and say, we're not going to shop here anymore. No, that's not going to work anymore. The advertisers realize what's happening on November 5th, and they're like, we're going to be free. We're going to be free to advertise where we want. You're not going to have the Department of Justice going after McDonald's. You're not going to have the CDC going after McDonald's. You see, that was insidious stuff. Trump shows up McDonald's at one McDonald's in Pennsylvania, and they put the entirety of the CDC and everybody else on top of them to try and hurt that company and hurt their stock, which it did. That's what Dementia Joe and Kamala Harris are doing right now. They put people in jail. Peter Navarro, Steve Bannon, Paul Manafort, name it, on and on and on. They put journalists in jail. They destroyed companies. They've sued Elon Musk who knows how many times. And now people are realizing, I don't want any part of this communist crap, and I can't wait for Trump to get in and basically open the floodgates. That's why I know that the economy is going to take off. There are so many companies that are sitting back going, I just can't piss off these people right now. Merrick Garland will come after me with some sort of lawsuit. Now, you ain't going to have to worry about that in about, 4 months. We got to win, and then we got to fight, and then we got to get him in the office. As I've said, and I'm sure Steve Bannon will say, the fight doesn't end on November 5th. That's when it begins. That's when it starts, and you got to be there because he's opening the path for us. He's saying, I'm going to tear down these walls. All these things, all these media outlets are toast. Don't worry about them. Don't even consider what they're saying. And people are responding, going, hey, that's stupid. And now you're going to be able to fight to get through to inauguration. Because it's going to be bad. It's going to be brutal. It's going to be, hopefully, not bloody. Anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you this morning. I didn't think I'd get it all in, but Trump basically waited until I was done. I'm sure. Give him the word now. Hey, somebody give him a call. Yeah, Barry's done. Yeah, you can go on. You can go out there right now. Barry's completed his show. Yep. Yeah, he's ready. That's a call that's being made right now. I'm pretty sure down in from where I am, up in Mar-a-Lago. He's right up the street. But let's take some comments. All the glory to Almighty God. Absolutely. I'm upset my community won't allow me to put up a Trump flag. Maybe it might have been in the HOA requirements. Could be Barry wearing black MAGA. A lot of people ask me, how come I wear the Adidas hat and I don't get a Trump hat? I don't know if you can see, it's kind of dark back there right now. I got my morning lighting done. But back there, there's three MAGA hats back there on the bookshelf. And none of them fit me. They all sit on my head like a yarmulke. And I don't mean that in any sort of bad way, but it just sits there because I got a big dome. When I played football, they had to order a special helmet for me. So that's why you guys now know why I don't wear it, because it would just literally sit on the top of my head. Next up, Barry interviews President Trump. I don't know if I could do it. I would just be tongue-tied. No, I'd do it. Barry is a heavy hitter. Shh, don't say that. I don't want the email from the New York Times where they're going to try and come after me. Thank you very much. Jeff Bezos and Amazon was implicated in a debacle that was called the 2020 election. So what you're saying is he's kissing the ring. He realized what's coming and going, oh boy, I shouldn't have done that. I was a bad boy. So I bought two more and bought, what's this, a very big, so they told me, she told Tanya she couldn't fly her flag, so she's like, I bought two more and bought two of my neighbors. Put a MAGA patch on your Adidas hat. I could do that. Or, you know what, maybe I could, as part of our merch stuff, maybe I can order a replica for a big dome. Maybe I can do that. Lee Williams, yeah, your channel is amazing. Thank you very much. Me too. Big Head Coach was pissed when I broke the new one they bought. They don't make stuff for big. I walk into like a big and tall, and I can find all the shirts and I can find all the pants and everything I want. I'm like, what you got in hats, man? Do hat companies not know? And don't send me no, what do you call those things? Snapback. Snapback don't work. Snapbacks just break when you got a big head. You got to have the adjustable thing. Y'all need to start making some hats for big people. Trump should just Trump should trust no leftist trying to get in on his good side. I think he's going to have enough people at this point to basically make sure that happens. Even a beanie won't fit that melon Barry has. My old boss, who owned the advertising agency, his Jewish man, and his father died. I went to, I don't know if they're called funerals, but whenever, I went to the service. Let me just call it service. And as I was walking in, they handed me the yarmulke. And I'm like, it was like that big. And I'm like, what am I going to do with that? He's like, well, just go ahead and stick it there. I'm like, well, how's it just going to, it's not, there's no suction cup. How's it going to stay on my head? You know what I mean? So, it had that little clip in the end, so I stuck it in what little hair I have there, but it looked so funny. It's so funny. You see the Dems are setting the ballot boxes on fire. Yep, that's what I'm telling you. Get ready. Absolutely get ready. Yes, I wear this term with pride. I am a meathead. Yes, absolutely. Pray for Pennsylvania voters. Pray for all voters. Pennsylvania is going to be really important. Pray for Pennsylvania PR voters, Puerto Rican voters, not to be swayed and vote Trump. Yep. Mm-hmm. One size fits all is BS. Absolutely. So I've got my monitor. I'm seeing when he comes up. He's not coming up yet. Yes, they're burning ballot boxes. What they're doing is they're basically in the slot where you're supposed to stick in the ballot, they're running a hose and pouring gasoline inside the ballot box and then throwing a match in and going on fire. It's absolutely crazy. My head grew out my hair. I'm ready to protest. Well, I don't know if you saw this, what Steve Bannon said. Steve Bannon, when he got out of prison, let me just see if I can pull this up for you, because I quoted him, and it's pretty interesting what he said. Let me pull it up. Okay, so here's this was what Bannon said, and I think everybody needs to take heart. I wrote Steve Bannon is free, but his quote is, if you're not prepared to go to prison to fight for your country, you're not prepared to fight for your country. Are you prepared to fight? If not, you're not really all in. Now, I understand there are some people who are affirmed. There are people who are older who can't really get in the fight. And I don't mean physically, but it's just too much for them. And for everybody else, yeah, you need to get in the fight. You need to be absolutely ready to go to battle here. And I have to keep qualifying it, because the people upstairs would say I'm advocating violence, but I'm not advocating violence. What I'm saying is you got to be ready. Be ready. A woman yesterday in Pennsylvania got arrested because she saw something and she spoke about it, and they pulled her out of line to vote and arrested her in Pennsylvania. So it's getting squirrely already. So you need to stay frosty, keep your head on a swivel, because things are nuts. Let's see, they are professional head shrinkers in Borneo. Somebody asked, would I be analyzing the polls anytime soon? I analyzed the polls yesterday. I went through all of the polls. I went through Polymarket. Let's go ahead and check in on Polymarket right now, because that's an easy one for us to check in. But I did go through all the polls yesterday, last night, if you want to see that. And if I have time today, I will. All right, so here's Polymarket. Let me refresh. Ooh, it's still going up. It's and I know a lot of people say, oh, it's just Polymarket, it's just a betting market, it's just, I don't know. I play poker, but I'm going to tell you right now, people who bet don't just throw money away. They're betting because of things that they've researched. What I said yesterday was, if you ever gone to the racetrack with somebody other than Robin, because Robin looks at the color of the jersey of the jockey and stuff like that, and I'm like, well, no, you got to look at the data. It's finished second 4 times. People look at the data before they start betting. When you play poker, you look at the cards, you understand the tendencies and probabilities, and then you bet accordingly. People aren't spending a whole bunch of money, which is thus far probably over $1 billion has been bet on this election, without looking at the data. The polls that people see and the numbers and what they're seeing in life make them go, okay, this is what's going to happen, so let me put money down on it. And right now, he's doubled her up, 66.6 to 33.5. That is beyond landslide. That's take you out back, pull the pants down, take the switch off the tree, and just whooping that ass. Whooping that bare ass at this point. She's done. I'm telling you, absent complete tomfoolery, there is no way this woman is going to win. She may lose 45 states. I mean, all these people on television, again, I just spent 45 minutes telling you, don't believe the people on television. Believe what you see. You just saw 20,000 people at Madison Square Garden, and as far as I could tell, not a single one of those people plays guitars or has a platinum album. Not a single one of them. There were 100,000 people outside. There was no band on the speakers. Trump wasn't out there jamming with Slash and Bruce Springsteen. It was just him and 6 or 7 other speakers. Political speakers. Use your eyes. I'm like, well, man, is that in Manhattan? Is that in New York City? Your eyes can't deceive you. You got to go back and go, damn. Damn. And you can see what's happening in early voting, the lines, what people are doing. That's why those bets are happening the way they are. People are using their eyes, not the media anymore. But then again, you could use the media because the media at this point are screaming banshees that have no idea what the hell they're doing, what's going on. They're dropping off more newcomers on boats in lots of places, and they're finding them. That's another thing. Yeah, that's another thing. Trump keeps warning people. He knows something. If you do this, you're going to jail. Number one, how would you know? Number two, how would you be in position to put them in jail? So when you break down that statement that he's making, there's some serious confidence on both sides. Both sides of that statement. If I say to you, if you break the law, you're going to go to jail. Number one, how is he knowing who's breaking the law? It came out of his mouth. And how are you going to be sure they're going to go to jail? Because I already know who's breaking the law, and I'm going to be in position to put these people in jail. He already knows. He's got to live to January 20th, whatever. But barring anything stupid like that happening, which we've seen is a possibility, he's going to win. And I'm telling you now that I would consider, let's see, Joe Rogan's not really a conservative podcaster, but arguably the biggest voice in conservative news, even bigger than Dan Bongino, is Steve Bannon. And nobody has been able to fill his void. Once he went to jail, his numbers fell off the charts. He'd had guest hosts in, Jack Poso, a bunch of people would come in and basically try to carry his show. Nobody could do it. Now Steve Bannon is going to be back behind his microphone, and he's going to be speaking to millions of people without a filter, completely pissed off, and he's going to bring fire, he's going to bring heat like they've never known. Unfortunately for them, it's happening just a week before the election. The timing of it couldn't have been better. Adding another strong conservative firebrand to the conversation is going to be epic. He will leave scorched earth, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to show some of you guys if you miss it. Let's see here. Basketball Jones said approximately 20 to 40,000 outside Madison Square Garden, not 200. I didn't say 200. I said the entirety of it was about 200. 20,000 inside. And I have heard from police, not your media, that there were 90 to 100,000 outside. I've heard from people who were there that there were 90 to 100,000 people outside. But even so, if I even took your number, there's only 40,000 people outside. Do me a favor, get in a car, go to a Kamala rally, and tell me how many people are outside waiting for her to talk. You see, I'll take your number. I'll turn it around on you. Only 40,000, huh? Wow, that really sucks. Only 40,000. Oh, man, New York's got 7 million people. Only 40,000 people were outside. Okay, if that's what you want to go with, do you know how many people were, watching online? Do you know how many people basically saw the interview with he and Joe Rogan? No, it's up about 35 million right now. We could play the numbers game, bro. Basketball Jones, we could do that all day. Anyway, so Bannon was on at 10. I didn't know that. I counted 12. Don't worry, trust in God. He saved Trump for such a time as this. So it's now 10:49. Thankfully, I had some stuff to go over with you and was able to. The man's never on time. At this point, got to start scheduling it in, but then I'll schedule it later and I'll do 10:30 and he'll show up at like 10:15 in any event. So let me go over schedule for today. Also, just so you know. Again, subject to change, he's got a roundtable up in Pennsylvania that's scheduled to start at 1 p.m. So I'll be going live probably about 12:30 or 1:15. I'll see how long this goes, and then I'll judge, basically on traffic and travel if he's going to make 1 p.m. And then he's got a big rally in Allentown, Pennsylvania tonight. We're going to go live at 5:30. So we got a busy day. Long day. If you guys can't make 3 shows, that's fine. I understand. You got lives to live. I don't have much of a life right now. I'm just doing this because I want this man to get in office. But he's got 3 events today. 3. Don't know what Kamala's doing. Don't really care. Don't really care what she's doing. Can you imagine the hours that Steve Bannon has spent on preparing for this next week? No, I couldn't. I bet you he's got volumes of stuff he's going to talk about. And he's probably been sitting in the prison library just scouring what's out there on Twitter all day long, talking to certain people, his daughter, Jack Pozo, he's probably talked to Tim Pool, he's probably talked to, I don't know if he talks to Elon, he's probably talked to Tucker. He's getting information. And so, yeah, you're right. I can't even imagine how long he's been sitting there. Oh, you're okay. You're in Allentown. Okay, very, very good. We saw the lines, Barry. Yep, I saw him. I actually put him out there. There was film. Hey, Stacy, we'll be here for all 3 shows. Now, 2 of the shows are going to be different. So this one's a press conference. The second one is another roundtable / town hallish type thing. And then the third one is a rally. So I'm interested to see what the second one is. Let me see if I can pull it up in terms of what they say is on the menu for today. If it's on here. And then he scheduled. Okay, so just so you know, I said he had 1 rally the rest of the week. Tomorrow we have 2. We have a rally in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, in the 12:30, and then at 5:30, actually 6:30, he's going to Wisconsin, and Brett Favre, he's holding a rally in Green Bay, Wisconsin, with Brett Favre. Interesting. So he's got 2 tomorrow for now, and then 2 on Thursday. We've got Albuquerque, New Mexico just popped up. And then he's got 1 in Nevada, in Henderson, outside of Vegas, Henderson, Nevada. So he's got 2 on Thursday. And then he slows down to 1 on Friday and 1 on Saturday for now. That's his schedule. So we got 2 tomorrow and 2 Thursday to go through. Not sure. Let me see if I can find out where this roundtable thing is and what's going to be going on with that today. Let me search on his site and see if there's any information on it. Because some of these things don't show up, and then all of a sudden, here it is. Okay, so let me go ahead and see if I can't pull this up while we're waiting. You guys can see this second event today. All right, this second event that he's got today is called Building America's Future. This will be the one this afternoon that he's going to be doing. And it says here, Building America's Future will host special guest Donald Trump in Southeast Pennsylvania for a community roundtable as a part of its America Future tour. The roundtable will feature Southeast Pennsylvania residents who will share how the Biden-Harris administration's failed policies have hurt seniors on Medicare, living on a fixed income, and more. Very interesting. He's bringing that out. Members of the press must receive media credentials, blah, blah, blah. Members of the public are entitled to attend the event, RSVP here. Donald Trump has been committed, blah, 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 to make this. So this is going to be about seniors and Medicare. And looks like the guests are Trump and Mike Huckabee. And it's due to start at 2:30, so they moved the time back. So I'll look at going live about 2 p.m. after this. So that's what's going on up in, what part of Pennsylvania is this? Doesn't really say. Does it say what city? It just says southeast. Oh, Drexel Hill, Pennsylvania, which is, I think Drexel Hill is, if I can remember, back in my Philly day. I think it's right outside of Philadelphia. So he's gonna be doing that event, talking about seniors, Medicare, and living on a fixed income, and how Kamala Harris has hurt people who live on a fixed income. Interesting, very interesting. I saw that helicopter video last night. What do you think it means? So I think you're referring to, and you'd have to clarify, that they were doing some sort of maneuvers down by the White House. Don't know. They've been doing some strange things. I did notice one thing. People were freaking out because they were building something outside the Capitol building. But I think that's for Kamala's big closing speech, where she's going to do basically a reenactment, per se, of January 6th. So she's decided she's going to close her campaign, not by telling people what she can do for them, not by telling people why she hasn't done it already. She's going to close her campaign by telling everybody about January 6th. So she's going back to the future, which tells you she's got nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. The Nazi stuff didn't work. So what are we going to pull out? Russia, and more stuff about January 6th. That's what people actually care about. That's why I said earlier, I could have ran her campaign. You probably could have ran her campaign at this point. Biscuit Boy says, I can relate to suffering seniors. I am one. So at 1:30, rather 2 o'clock, you might want to be there to tune in. They're building the gallows outside the White House. No, Tamara, you did not miss him. He was scheduled to step up to the microphone at 10 o'clock. It is now 10:56, and he has not come on yet. So we are all waiting and taking comments and just talking right now. 4 helicopters at the White House within the past 2 days. Maybe Biden's not planning on leaving. I don't know. No turning the page. Oh, we're going to turn the page, all right. I think, again, she missed the mark on that marketing, because we definitely going to turn the page. Get rid of her and and Joe. I think SpongeBob is running her campaign. That's too funny. So I'm looking at a Harris. They're showing like a Harris Waltz rally in Pennsylvania. And they have that Republican turncoat yelling on stage. What's his name? Joe Walsh. Not the guitar player, but Joe Walsh. Trump is tardy to the party. Maybe he overslept in Mar-a-Lago. I keep getting yelled at if I pronounce things wrong sometimes, and people get mad. Mar-a-Lago. Okay, don't text me. So somebody says, Barry, do you think 10 days of darkness is going to be just before the election or after the election? Well, being that we're within 10 days, it's not going to be before the election. If anything, it would probably be after the election, if it happens. We shall see. That's why I keep telling you, be prepared. Be prepared, just in case. If it doesn't, did you get my video from last night on Facebook? Facebook booted me about 2 years ago. I'm not even on Facebook. Not even there. So if you sent me a video from Facebook, I probably just moved on, because there's nothing nope. I'm not on Facebook. They're afraid of another January 6th because, a reverse January 6th. Let's see here. I'm appalled. That's a good. Somebody said, where are Hunter and Jill at this point? I don't know, man. They just completely disappeared. I think Jill gave Kamala the middle finger and just said, "F it, I'm done. I'm done with this. I'm not even playing this charade." Because nope, she's not showing up. They barely get. Well, they don't want Joe showing up for events or backing her, and I'm sure they don't want Jill out there either. So it's obviously, people said the helicopters were a training exercise. I don't know what they're training for, but we'll see. Chris Wheeler says the Dolphins need you back. I told y'all. I told every single Dolphins fan. Y'all didn't want to hear. Y'all didn't want to listen. I had enough football experience. I kept playing videos. I'm like, this team ain't going to make it. Those of you who don't know, I used to do Dolphin stuff. Before I jumped into Trump in about March, I was doing Dolphins podcast. I podcast every single game. And I just saw that that team, the Miami Dolphins, was built on paper. It wasn't going to last. Coach didn't know what he was doing. Quarterback second rate. And I got vilified. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Hey, man, you don't know ball. You're crazy. You're casual. And now all the people who vilified me are saying the same thing. When I told them a long time ago, this team ain't got it. But y'all didn't want to listen. I said they weren't tough. Barry, why do you not post on Rumble? How can I say this? Well, I've got 322,000 plus subscribers here. I have 43,000 followers on Twitter. I got nobody on Rumble. And so at that point, I just don't have the effort to want to rebuild and do everything over there. Now, if I could simulcast, like right now, this video is being simulcast on YouTube and Twitter. If I could just click a button and simulcast over to Rumble, I'll have to check in on that, see if they've got an integration. But that's the only reason. I just didn't want to have to go back to playing clubs and small clubs and coffee shops. I like the idea of playing, small arenas at this point. Let's see here. What do we got? My life right now is about this election. I've listened to you every show. I know how you feel, Kathy. I'm pretty much the same way. I mean, I have such a endearing wife. Thankfully, she understands what my mission is at this point, which I think mirrors her mission. And I don't mind spending the time. I do the editing. I hardly sleep as it is. But when we do have our time to spend together, and I just want to let you guys know that take advantage of all your time with your loved ones. Or, Rob is going. Her stepmom is ill, as some of you know, may not make it, and so you never know. And so when I flip the switch and I'm done, it's right to wherever she is. Hey, right there. Hey, honey, what's going on? Let's talk. Let's eat. Let's do something. Luckily, the weather down here is nice, so we're going to see what you go outside this time of year in Florida. It's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Twitter news. I post on Rumble because YouTube kicked him off because of posting about RFK. Yeah, they're prone to doing that. I'm just wondering. Here's what I'm wondering. I have 322,000 followers. YouTube only shows my videos to this percentage of people, which is fine with me. I'm fighting through it. I'm wondering after November 5th and seeing what Jeff Bezos is doing, do they start saying, you know what, we tried. We went with all the censorship stuff. We went with all the suppression stuff, and it didn't work. He still got elected. So let's go ahead and do nice. Because the same shit that they're doing to everybody else, when Trump gets in and he hires his attorney general, I don't know if you want to be on the bad side of that, because there's so much proof at this point that there has been direct censorship and direct suppression. And his number one witness he can call. Right now I like to call Elon Musk to the stand. And then you'd watch all these networks poop their pants. He's got all the data on and all the messages that they did when Twitter was doing it with the White House and everybody else. So it would probably behoove the people here to just go, okay, we're done. We're not going to. So that's what I'm hoping for. If people say, what's your long-term plan? I'm hoping that right after November 5th or January 20th, whichever date, that Steve Bannon can come back over here, that Bongino can come back over here, that Crowder can do what he needs to do, and it becomes truly a free speech platform here as well. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I perceive could possibly happen here. I know the guys at Rumble would hate it because it would basically cost them their investment if YouTube the one reason people go to Rumble is because they've been banned, like you said, here. If free speech is opened up here on YouTube, from a business perspective, it would just be nuts. I can't even imagine how much money YouTube is losing by suppressing people and by censoring people. Just imagine if they went, all right, we lost. All right, y'all just have at it. Do what you need to do. Don't post, porn. Don't do stupid stuff. Don't threaten people. But other than that, have at it. Their problem that they now have to worry about is Elon Musk. Because Elon has seen his opportunity, and Rumble, you might have to worry about it too, because Elon Musk is building a platform. Because it's not built. He's not done. The man who parks rockets for a living is not done with X. He is making it a video-first platform. He is getting his monetization in order in terms of how he's going to pay creators. And once he does that, once he gets his monetization where it rivals YouTube, I'm telling you, that's going to destroy Rumble, and it may even hurt YouTube, except for YouTube's so big. It'll destroy Rumble. I mean, just nobody will be posting over there. Why would you? Why would you be posting on Rumble if everybody is on X? I'm still surprised that many of the creators who are on Rumble now haven't moved over and said, hey man, this is good. This is where we need to be. See, he's got a few tweaks. He's got to make sure his television integration works. He's got to make sure that his monetization makes sense. He's got to make sure that the view counts and everything from the advertisers understand that they're getting what they paid for, which I'm confident he is going to solve. Once he solves that, I personally think Rumble is done. I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't want anyone's business, but unless he buys Rumble and integrates it, that could be something. Could you imagine if Elon Musk bought Rumble, which basically has the same sort of look and feel like YouTube, and he integrated that into X? I mean, I don't know what Rumble's worth. I don't know what Chris would want for it, but that talk right there would be like, listen, I need video content. Rumble has it. I need good creators. Rumble has it. Let me just buy it and integrate it into X. Let me make the videos on X look like they look on YouTube and Rumble, and put those in the stream. Ooh boy. Oh, that centralization, because at that point all of your subscribers would basically mesh with X. So if Dan Bongino has 1 million subscribers, he's not going to leave that. That's a house that he built, basically. So if X and Rumble came together and he still had his 1 million subscribers, it's all over. It's absolutely all over. The rapidness in which things are growing. Little old me, my small corner of the world here, we put up a community, I think 2.5 weeks ago, and we're almost at 7,000 people. 7,000. That's how fast that has grown. So I'm all in on X. I think that is, like he has said many times, I think that is the future. And that's why I think it's incumbent upon you to learn how to use that platform. Get off of Facebook. I don't know, if you want to post family pictures and here's little Johnny as he went to school today or whatever, that's fine. But if you want to actually do this to look at news, and if you want to be a creator, you would be foolish not to be building something on X at this point. I go on news sites on Facebook to harass the Democrats. Barry, do you think the cheating that they're doing will be enough to win? Nope. How do I feel that way? I see them suing places like Virginia, suing to keep non-citizens on the voter rolls. What does that tell me? That tells me they know they don't have enough of a cushion to do the cheat. As I said in many of my videos, if you only have 1,000 people who live here, you can't have 2,000 people voting. You just can't do it. And so if you have 1,000 people and, I don't know, 700 of them vote for Trump and 300 vote for Kamala, you can't make that number get bigger. Where are those extra 401 people going to come from to take Kamala to 701? 701 and 700 is 1,400. If you only got 1,000, where's the other 401 coming from to make her win? Oh, we're going to sue to make sure that these, non-citizens are on a voter roll. As of right now, when it goes to court, the court comes back and says, nah, you can't do that. You can't have dead people on the voter rolls. Nope, can't have it. They won't be able to get that number. That's why in my opinion, that's why they're scrambling in these different states to say, let newcomers do this, because they know there's just not enough people. Using their own argument against them, you have made baby removal proliferate. You have pushed baby removal to the point where over the last 20 years, whatever, not enough people have been born here to continue with their charades. And so if not enough people are on the voter rolls, it becomes a simple matter of math. And that's why I said it last night, and I'll say it again tonight. When Trump asked tonight in Allentown, Pennsylvania, how many of you people have voted in advance? And he's going to get a number, and he's going to ask, how many people you guys still haven't voted? Because that second part of that question is, oh, we're winning because this many people have already voted. We're going to win bigger because this many people still haven't done it yet. So if he's already, and that's why a lot of the pundits that you're seeing is that if he's already ahead, it becomes sort of like that track race where it's like, I don't care how fast you are, you're not going to catch up to that person who's lapped you. So I see some movement, and we might finally, yes, we're seeing bodies move up to the podium, taking their positions, so he must be coming up. But I hope you understand that. So you don't have to be a math wizard, I'll even reduce it smaller. 100 people live in an area. That means you have 100 possible votes. If Trump takes 70 of those votes, there's only 30 left. If he takes 51 of those votes, there's only 49 left. You can't manufacture it before because he's got too much of a vote. He made it too big to rig. Before, if Republicans didn't vote in advance and only, 20%, 20 of the 100 voted, Democrats were like, well, okay, we can make this work because nobody knows how many people are voting on election day. Let's go ahead and delete those and blah, 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 blah. But the math at this point is becoming such that they're having to sue to get the ability to cheat. And, and this year the entire world is watching closely. You're absolutely right. Everybody's like, okay, let me see what you guys are doing. There's a microscope on you, that's for sure. What about her starting martial law and keeping people from voting? She can't start shit. Dementia Joe would have to do that. Only the president, the vice president, can't make that. So the only other thing you could think of is when they make Joe step down, or if all of a sudden something happens to Joe and they have to make her president. Don't think that couldn't possibly be something that they would think about. At this point, I don't put anything, and that's not being conspiratorial, that's not wearing a tinfoil hat. These people are desperate. You've seen the desperation. I showed you earlier all the stuff the media, they're running around like chickens with their heads cut off because their chicken heads have been cut off. They don't have the voice. Twitter has muted them. They're completely irrelevant. Jeff Bezos says, hey, we're irrelevant. He knows. He's the second richest man in the world. He's like, or country, whatever. And he's like, it ain't working. Nobody's listening to us. So if that man is telling you nobody's listening to us, what does he know that CNN, CBS, ABC, same thing? He knows. He actually used a word in his article. We are irrelevant. We have been rendered moot. Nobody cares. So if he knows that, and Elon knows that, and Trump knows that, Who the hell's listening to them scream on about Nazis and beepers and everything else? I don't know. Steve Bannon on this morning. Looks like he lost weight. I wonder why. That's probably the best thing for him, actually. Well, should I go to jail? I don't know. Yeah, can you imagine eating bologna sandwiches and the shit that he must feed you in jail? Looks like he lost weight and got a good tan. Got that white skin tan. We must continue. How the hell did he get a tan in prison? Unless he just sat out in the yard during the day or something. But absolutely. So I'm still waiting for him. There's some people standing at the podium. As soon as somebody gets to a microphone, we will turn over. I believe that there's nothing they wouldn't do. That was something else. Okay, it's 24/7 poll watching. All right. The new thing tells you they're desperate. Tells you she's losing. They're suing to stop surveillance of ballot boxes. It's an inanimate object. Why can't there be a camera on it? Merrick Garland is actually suing to stop surveillance of ballot boxes. Scout's honor. Let me see if I can find that, because I read that this morning. I went, oh, they know. They know that it's absolutely over. Absolutely over. As soon as I read that, I'm like, I got to tell people about that one. While we're waiting, let me do this. Okay, so you remember yesterday I showed you this. This was the ballot boxes on fire. Somebody asked about it earlier. Yep, there we go. There's the ballot boxes on fire. The firemen are trying to get the ballot boxes out. And it's all over the place. Now I'm trying to see if I can find the one that I was telling you about. Okay, here it is right here. Okay. Actually, it was on Jesse Waters. Said, in Georgia, the Dems are suing to prevent drop box surveillance. Why would anyone be against surveilling the boxes? Why don't they want to keep the ballot safe? That told me everything I need. I didn't even need to watch any further. Did he really say that? Oh, yeah. Okay. They're suing to stop you from surveilling the ballot boxes. Why do you think they would do that? Only one reason, and that would be it. I've seen that. Also, Garland is a criminal. What was going on with the evacuation exercises with choppers? They're not going to tell anybody that. And anyone who tell you they specifically know is lying to you. It would be propaganda, because they're not going to tell you what they were doing and why all of a sudden they were needing to have evacuation orders. Pretty crazy. Let's see here. They know Kamala is tanking. I wouldn't put it them to delete Kamala in order to have a new election with a new candidate. Whew, wow. Yeah, they're crooked. They're absolutely crooked. They make no bones about it. All right, I can see the. Let me put this on so you guys can see, so you know you're not missing anything. Trump is coming in with the Secret Service, and he's walking to the area where he's going to be doing this press conference. There's Jason Miller is with him. Trying to see if I notice anybody else with him. Jason Miller, and then he's in. So we're about to have the press conference. He's only in almost an hour and a half late, but that's okay. We're amongst friends here. The only problem is I'm starving. I'm hungry. All right, so this should be interesting. Number one, why was he late? Number two, what's this press conference all about? Don't know. And here he comes. I doubt there's music, so I can probably play this. Hold on. All right, so I had to wait. Good thing I waited right there. I was waiting with my finger on a button to make sure they weren't going to play the music, but they did. They went live with the music right away. So, again, as soon as he begins talking, we will quickly push back there. I want to thank the people at RSBN, Joe Seals and his mom, Jude, for allowing me to stream on their camera. It really means a lot because now I don't have to worry about wondering if I can find a source. So it's great that they allowed me to do that. So we're just waiting till the music stops, and let me see if it stops. Okay, come on. Once he starts talking, do me a favor and let me know how the volume is.
Such great spirit. I want to start by saying it's going very well. There are some bad spots in Pennsylvania where some serious things have been caught or in the process of being caught, but the election itself is going very well. We're leading, I believe, in all 7 swing states.
How's the volume, everybody?
So I appreciate everybody's work, and the spirit is unbelievable. I don't think there's ever been anything like it in our country's history, frankly, because we want to see our country get better. And that's why we're here, just to do a statement. And it's an honor to have some of our friends here. In less than 4 years, Kamala Harris has obliterated our borders, obliterated. We've never had a situation like this. Decimated the middle class, and runaway inflation has caused problems, the likes of which we never thought possible. Bloodshed, squalor to our cities is common, and they've unleashed a war and chaos all over the world. You take a look, everything's blowing up or getting ready to blow up. No respect for our country anymore, no respect for our leadership. No person has caused so much destruction and death at home and abroad should ever be allowed to be the President of the United States. You can't have that. You can't have that. So I'm running on a plan to save America. We're going to save America. We have no choice. It's the greatest there is. We love it, and we're going to save it. We have no choice. And it's going to be saving it from the incredible destruction that's been caused by crooked Joe Biden and Kamala. And she's responsible because he wasn't responsible, and she never said that. He didn't know too much about what was happening. Maybe that was exposed during the debate. And yet still the way they took that away from him was not right. It wasn't right. Shouldn't have happened that way. They walked in, they said, we're taking it away. They stole the presidency of the United States. You can call it a coup, you can call it whatever, but they stole it. They went in like taking candy from a baby. And can't have that. And she's running on a campaign of demoralization and really a campaign of destruction. But really, perhaps more than anything else, it's a campaign of hate, a campaign of absolute hate. And, you know, I said yesterday that she's a vessel. She is a vessel. It's a very big, powerful party with smart people. They have to be smart. But it's vicious. They're vicious, and they're perhaps even trying to destroy our country. Because who would want open borders where millions of people can flow in from prisons and from gangs, the worst gang members anywhere in the world? Who would want this for our country? Who would want all of these transgender operations all over the place, like at will, even if you're in detention, I want a transgender? These are things she used to have. Who wants to defund the police? She's wanted her whole career to defund the police. She only changed recently. She changed on 15 different items. Fracking. She was against fracking at the highest level. Wouldn't even think about it. Now all of a sudden, oh, I'd like fracking very much. But they change after the election in about 2 minutes, and I think Pennsylvania understands that. After 2 assassination attempts in just over 3 months. Her lies and her slanders are very shameful and really inexcusable. And I can say that if I were president and somebody was being threatened, openly threatened like they've threatened me, I would say, if you do that, even if this was an opponent who I disliked, if you do that, we will obliterate your entire country, and it would all stop. But they wouldn't make that statement. They won't make that statement. And essentially, that statement has been made by other presidents, even concerning their opponents, as you know. Today, we're going to talk about the real character of Kamala, and a person who has no remorse for the anguish she's inflicted upon families all across America. On the contrary, I have to tell you, Kamala intends to conflict and keep this misery going, and she's going to keep it going as long as she can, because that's the only way she can get elected. She's going out and only criticizing, talking about Hitler and Nazi, and because her record's horrible. Her borders are the worst in the history of the world. There's never been a border in the world like this. I always say in third world countries, banana republics, they'd fight them away with sticks and stones if they had to. We let them come in, come on in. Knowing in many cases they're murderers, they're drug lords, they're traitors in so many ways to our country. If they were involved in our country at all, even that, they're coming back in. People that left because they were traitors are coming back in. Everybody's coming back in. And it's at a level that we've never seen before. Criminals off the streets. And you know, other countries from where they're coming are now setting records, good records for them, where crime is down 70 and 75%, because they're taking the criminals off the street. They're emptying their jails into our country. And they're not finished yet. I'm amazed. I thought they would have done it by now, but if you take a look at Venezuela, their crime is way, way, way down. Then you go to Caracas and you wouldn't recognize it. You can actually walk the streets without being shot or killed or mugged. It's becoming a safe city because they've taken all their criminals, most of them, the rest are coming. They're all coming. They've taken their drug dealers and they've put them into the United States of America. Thank you very much, Kamala. Appreciate it. But she continues, and she will continue this misery, and her policies have caused such harm and such pain. And the three great people up here with me are going to just discuss that for a little while, about what's happened to them, how their lives have been shattered. I'd like to begin with the story of one mother whose life Kamala has utterly destroyed this life. And we're talking about thousands of people in very similar situations. Every day under Kamala, open border policies. And if you remember, Joe Biden appointed her as the border czar. She doesn't want to use that term, but let's say we'll just use a different term. She was responsible for the borders, totally responsible. She never made one call to Border Patrol. 2 weeks ago, the Border Patrol endorsed me with the most beautiful endorsement I think I've ever gotten. And in all fairness, they've endorsed me every single year, but they've endorsed me again, and they endorsing me, saying I was the best president we've ever had and the best president by far on the border. They said that, and this is not easy for them to say, they said that she was easily the worst person ever to work with them on the border, most incompetent, the least caring. Think of it. Not one call in almost 4 years was made to Border Patrol, like, how are we doing? I used to call all the time. I'd say, how are we doing, fellas? How's it going? Is it going well? And they're great people, men and women, Border Patrol, great people. They want to do their job. She didn't call them once. She released the two men who murdered this woman's very precious daughter. Everything you need to know about what happened, and the character of Kamala Harris you'll know from just watching this video. We had it done yesterday. It's very, very quick, very easy to do, but it was very heartbreaking. We showed it in a room full of people, and everybody was crying. Some people were crying. Please take a look.
Sunday night, I asked her to not stay up super late because of her coming to work with me in the morning to do her summer school. She said, okay. I told her good night and I love you. I went to bed, not realizing that that was going to be the last time I saw her.
We're best friends.
We're going to shake it again. I woke up to notice she wasn't in her bed. I'm in my heart trying not to lose my mind because I don't know where she is. I finally remembered her phone had a location on, and her phone was pinging just 2 minutes down the road, right behind the skate park. I start driving to the direction the phone was being pinged at, and I see a couple cop cars with lights on. I see yellow tape, and immediately my heart drops and sinks to the bottom of my stomach. My daughter's hands and ankles were both bound. She was strangled to death, left with no pants. And I know in my heart, she fought incredibly hard. She was not going down without a fight.
We begin with two men we're learning are charged with capital murder tonight, accused of killing a 12-year-old girl.
Police say these men strangled her before dumping her into that creek. Both men were in the country illegally.
Apprehended, then released by Border Patrol less than 3 weeks before Jocelyn's death. The men accused of killing Jocelyn Nungare are affiliated with the gang known for brutal violence.
Kamala Harris was in charge of immigration in our borders. If we had better border policies and not open borders and not these catch and release policies, I truly believe this all could have been prevented. Under her being vice president of this country, my daughter's life was ripped away from her. She had her entire life ahead of her.
Happy birthday, dear Jocelyn.
My daughter is 6 feet in the ground based off of policies that she allowed to keep. Kamala Harris did have one job, and she not only failed, not me, she failed my daughter. She failed Jocelyn. You know, she was only 12. President Trump reached out, gave me his sincerest condolences as not a former president, but just as a father, someone who cares. I believe Donald Trump needs to be back in office. I can at least know that my next child will be safe in this country.
Thank you very much. So I know we talk about inflation and the economy, but to me, there's nothing more important than the fabric of our country being destroyed by people placed there, violently placed there, as far as I'm concerned, foolishly, stupidly placed there. I think what's happening on the border is the single biggest issue, and I'm seeing it more and more when I speak. I see it more. Inflation's terrible. It's hurting our country. It's just decimating our seniors. That's why I talk about Social Security. No tax for our seniors on Social Security because they've been decimated by it. But what Kamala did to Jocelyn and her family is the most heartless and cold-blooded betrayal imaginable. Thousands of cases just like that. Thousands. In throwing open the border. Think of it, open borders, they come in from parts unknown. People have no idea who they are, where they're from, anything about them. They know nothing. They just walk into our country. And as soon as I heard they were doing that, I said, well, I know these countries. I know every one of the leaders of all these different countries. They're very smart. They're very sharp. They're very streetwise. I said, I know what they're going to do. They're going to open up their jails and just dump them into the United States. And that's what happened. They opened up their jails. And some of the most ruthless killers in the world are now roaming our fields and our streets all over the United States. I knew that was going to happen, and I would do the same thing if I were running one of those many countries that we're talking about, and not just the 3 or 4 that we constantly mention that are near us, all over South America, all over the Middle East, all over Asia, all over Europe, all over Africa. Tremendous numbers of people are coming out of Africa, and they're coming from all over the world. They're dumping them at our border, pushing them across the line, and say, don't ever come back. If you come back, we're going to kill you. And we're stuck with them. But we're not going to be stuck with them for long. So Kamala violated her oath. She desecrated our laws, and she got innocent girls like Jocelyn tortured and killed. Anyone who knowingly sets loose these monsters into our country has absolutely no right to be running for office, let alone the office of president. The American mom, Tammy Noble, is another great person, an American mom, Tammy Noble's. 2 years ago, Tammy's 20-year-old daughter, Kayla Hamilton, who had an autism diagnosis, was found raped, tied up and strangled to death with a telephone cord in her home. Kayla's murderer was an illegal alien, MS-13 gang member, among the most vicious gangs anywhere in the world. I took him out by the thousands thanks to ICE. I'm going to protect ICE. Kamala wanted to defund ICE. We didn't have ICE, we'd never get anybody out. They're tough and they're smart and they love our country. But an MS-13 gang member who was apprehended by Border Patrol, but under the policy of our border czar, Kamala, he was released into the United States to kill. Tammy, please come up and say a few words, please. Thank you. Please.
I just wanted to say that Homeland Security did not do their job. Health and Human Services did not do their job. The Biden-Harris administration did not do their job. If they would have done their job, made that one phone call to El Salvador, my daughter would still be alive today. Kayla was a very beautiful young lady inside and out. She was independent, learning to become independent. She had 2 jobs. She overcame obstacles dealing, with autism and was able to find a job that she loved. She loved animals, especially her cat Oreo, and she cared about the homeless. She loved God and she loved going to church. And her life was just ripped from her 3 days after she celebrated her 20th birthday. Thank you for having me here today.
Thank you, Tammy. And we will not forget Kayla. And she's looking down. She's very proud of Mom. Kamala's cruel and immoral actions on our border are actually disqualifying, in my opinion. She's unfit. She's an unfit person. And she knows this is going on. She never called anybody, including the 13 soldiers that were so needlessly killed in Afghanistan with that horrible moment in time where our country was just lost all respect from the whole world when they saw that. That's one of the reasons that Putin went in. He would have never gone in, ever. He wouldn't have gone in. If I were president, he would have never gone in. I ended his pipeline in Europe, no problem. And what happened? Biden comes in, he proves it right away, but he kills the Keystone Pipeline. Putin never would have come in. And he didn't, by the way, for 4 years. There was never a threat that he was going to do that. But he saw weakness, and I think a lot of it was seen in that horrible period of time. She is also aiding and abetting the cartels allowing vast quantities of deadly drugs to pour unchecked into our country. And remember this, they now have an app. You call the app and you bring whatever you want, you bring them over, they'll tell you exactly. Can you believe it? They have an app. And they have airplanes, big, beautiful Boeing airplanes flying back and forth over our border. They were saying, where are those planes coming from? Where are they going? They were loaded up with migrants. They're dropping them out in the Midwest. They're dropping them all over the place. And I will tell you, if you look at Aurora in Colorado or in Springfield in Ohio they dropped 32,000 illegal aliens. They tried to give them legal terminology, but it's not. Illegal aliens, 32,000 into a 50,000 person town, beautiful town, no problems. And now they don't know what to do. And they want to be nice, and the mayor wants to be nice. His big thing is to get interpreters because they don't speak English. It's very hard to get interpreters. And he's trying to get interpreters, but in the meantime, they're taking up the hospital. So when people from Springfield would routinely be able to check with a doctor, go to a hospital, they're unable to get in, they're packed. The whole town has changed. And this is happening all over our country. Aurora probably is an even worse situation because you have the meanest, worst gang from Venezuela in the world, probably, maybe as bad or worse than MS-13. And they've literally taken over the town. They've taken over large sections of the town. They've gone into the real estate business. They've taken over apartment complex. They took over a number of complexes where the people are paying them rent. They've become the landlord. Isn't that nice? And they're rough, tough people, and they have the latest weapons. They have military quality weapons, and everyone's saying, where did they get them? We got to get them out of here. We're going to get them out fast. We're going to get them out fast. So today, I'm announcing that for the first time under my administration, we will be seizing the assets of the criminal gangs and drug cartels. And we will use those assets to create a compensation fund to provide restitution for the victims of migrant crime, and the government will help in the restoration. The government will help in the restitution, but something has to be done, and we're going to get it done. Kamala has also caused untold misery through her destruction of our economy. Our economy is not, this is just, it's like a fake economy. Some of the best people on Wall Street are saying the economy is only good because they think, I don't want to say this because other people have said it, it's not me saying it, but they think Trump is going to get elected. That's the only reason our economy is good. That's the only reason the stock market is up. Scott is here, I think, someplace, and he's one of the most respected people on Wall Street. He's actually made a very big point of it, that the stock market is only doing well because of the fact that they think Trump is going to win the election. So we'll see. But Kamala cast the deciding votes that caused the worst inflation in our lifetime, maybe the worst inflation we've ever had, because I don't think I know for a fact they're not adding all of the numbers. If they did, I think it's the worst inflation probably in the lifetime of the country. And it's costing typical American families over $30,000. Nearly half of Americans now say they're broke. Think of that. Half of Americans are saying they're broke. They have no money. 2/3 say they're living from paycheck to paycheck, and that's a record. We've never had that. To that extent, we've never, ever had that. Millions of Americans are lying awake at night, worried about how they'll pay their bills because Kamala wrecked their family finances, and she's done that. She's done nothing good. They have done nothing good. And I speak of Kamala, but it's partially Joe, but Joe's out of it, Joe's sort of out of it. He's been out of it for a long time. Now she wants to raise taxes for the typical family by $3,000 a year. She's got no empathy for the hardworking Americans whose dreams she's killed, and said recently that there is not one thing that she would do differently from Biden. That's only because she choked. I'm sure she could have come up with a couple of things if she really thought about it, because there's been so much destruction caused by the Biden administration. One of the things that people don't talk about, and the news never talks about, they don't talk about, as an example, Afghanistan, but this is something that's incredible, because when you think of the numbers, 325,000 children are missing, dead, sex slaves, or slaves. 325,000 children who came in through the open border are now missing. Many of them are dead, and nobody talks about it. I said, this must be a mistake. This can't be possible. When I read it, I said, this can't be. You're talking about take your largest stadium and fill it up many times. That's what the kind of numbers are. Here today is Michael Copy, a small business owner who runs a dry cleaner and is struggling to get by because of what Kamala has done to his business. They've destroyed small businesses in this country. Michael, please.
I just want to say thank you, Mr. President, for affording me the opportunity and the high honor of joining you here today and sharing my small business story with you folks and the American people. So it's a chain of eco-friendly dry cleaners throughout the Tri-County here in West Palm. And it seems not too long ago, just a few years, the customer and us, the small business owner, we were able to keep up with inflation. There were resources available to us for expansion, or if you had a bad month, you know, if there was something you needed to make up for, it seemed like the support was there. And now, just a few short years later, it seems like all of those resources have dried up. The support's no longer there. We had an expansion plan about 6 years ago that we had to pause because we have to wait for our customers now to catch up with the inflation, the supply chain issues still, because we as a small business, we can't double our price points, although the cost of doing business now is 2, 3, or 4 times what it was just a few years ago. So we've had to get creative. Our industry, probably 30% in the dry cleaning industry, never survived COVID. And just recently this summer, I was contacted, my wife and I, by another local dry cleaner here in West Palm. They were asking advice. So husband and wife been there for about 35 years. Their lease was up, and the landlord was doubling their rent, which would have meant that that's what they've been paying themselves for probably the better part of 20 years. So they had to make a decision. Do they hand the keys back, or do we get creative, work together, pool resources? And so what we did was we figured out the right price point for them, but we did their cleaning for them, at least until we figured it out. And so they were not able to pay their operations. They couldn't keep that going, but they were able to save their business by strategically partnering. And by the end of summer, I think I was contacted by about 12 other local dry cleaners saying, can you guys help us also, because we're going through the same thing. Thank you. And it seems now, so the delta between the reality of what inflation is right now and we have in front of us, the reality of that and the small business owners' capabilities, that delta is too great. So unless we affect change immediately, I fear that in the next few years, if we don't see that change, we might see another 30% of our industry and others no longer exist. So I just want to say thank you again, Mr. President, for allowing me to share my Go Green Dry Cleaner story, and thank you.
Thank you very much. We really helped a lot of people during the prime time of the China virus, and we helped a lot of people, and we did it intelligently. Then when they took over, they just threw money around like it was dirt. And as you know, the recent monster hurricane, Helene, just wiped out so much. If you look at the different states, North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, Florida, Tennessee, it was just devastating. And the response was the worst since Katrina, but really a a lot of people think it was much worse than Katrina. It's still, they haven't shown up. They're not in North Carolina. The people of North Carolina have suffered incredibly, and there's just nobody to help them. FEMA has been a total disaster. We had FEMA that was fantastic when we did this, because we had our hurricanes too. We had some bad ones, but we did a great job with it. It's not there. And then you see that they, originally blamed, and then they tried to take it back, but it was a little late. But they said that the money was spent on bringing illegal migrants into our country. They spent close to $1 billion, and these were funds that were spent. And you have to say, I was in North Carolina recently, and I looked at devastation that was just, it was just unbelievable. There was nobody there from the federal government. The local people have done incredible things. Franklin Graham has done incredible things. He's been amazing. But there was nobody there. So we're pleased also to be joined by Christy Shamblin, person I know and I've gotten to know over the last year or so, the mother-in-law of fallen Marine Corps Sergeant Nicole G. Nicole made the ultimate sacrifice during the disastrous withdrawal. Not that we were withdrawing. I was going to withdraw, but we were withdrawing with dignity and strength and power, and we were going to keep Bagram, the big air base, because of the fact that it was so close to where China makes their nuclear weapons. 1 hour away. We should have kept it, and we didn't do that. But the way they withdrew, they took the soldiers out first. No, you take the soldiers out last. I went 18 months without one soldier. I spoke to Abdul, the leader of the Taliban. We went 18 months without one soldier even being shot at. No soldier being killed for 18 months. And then we left, and you had this group of incompetent people take over. Guys like Milley should have been fired. They should have been fired. Anybody that was involved with that disaster should have been fired. She was one of 13 U.S. service members who lost their lives. Kamala said she was the last person in the room, that Kamala was the last person in the room. She was involved in everything. She takes credit for that. She was involved in everything. That means she was involved in disaster after disaster, because nothing good has happened with this administration, except that our country has gone to almost a third world status. With Biden, when Biden made a decision, she said she was there. Oh, she was there. But the Afghanistan decision was a disaster in so many different ways. And now you take a look at it, they're right back to what they were doing before, except much worse to women. They're worse to women right now than they were even before it started. But Kamala never reached out to the family members of the warriors. And she said she was going to, but she never did. She never called anybody. And Christy, I'd like you to come up and say a few words, please.
Hi, good afternoon, good morning. My name is Christy Shamblin, and my daughter-in-law was Sergeant Nicole Leanne G., and she was killed in the botched Afghanistan exit at Abbey Gate. She was the cornerstone of a very large family. And instead of planning family gatherings and holiday meals and Christmases and baby showers, our family and thousands of other families plan outings at funeral grave sites, and that is where we as a family celebrate my daughter-in-law at Arlington National Cemetery, because she is in the ground. Her story isn't unique to our family, she's just ours. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of wounded veterans who came home from that war, who need our help and who are ignored by our current administration. President Trump demonstrates peace through strength. I know what he told the Taliban when he was negotiating with them, because I've made it my business to know. And what he said to them when he was negotiating with the Taliban, he said, "I will kill you if you harm one hair on one head of an American." President Trump shows up, he reaches out, and he can fix our country, and we can all heal together.
Thank you very much. It's so sad. So many cases like this. Nobody should have died. First of all, when they left, the soldiers should have been there. They shouldn't have been home watching, except for a small group, and many of them got killed, and large numbers. Nobody ever mentions the arms, the legs missing, gone, the face just obliterated. Nobody talks about them. I talk about them all the time. But I want to thank you, Christy, and we'll carry Nicole's memory in our hearts forever. The full consequences of Kamala's 4-year reign are almost too terrible to discuss or contemplate. We're coming to the end of a great campaign. I think we've had a great campaign. We've really not been provided the kind of protection that I needed as president, but I said we have to do it anyway. When Secret Service would ask for additional people, oftentimes we would be turned down. They were constantly asking for additional people. And I found Secret Service to be very brave. When I was hit and went down, they were right on top of me within seconds. I tell you what, those bullets were flying right over my head. I heard them. And these guys were right. I don't know how they didn't get hit, actually, but they were right there. You take a look at the video. One thing we would say, the video is there for people to see, but they were never given the kind of help that they requested, because our rallies were massively large and they needed more people, and they were always fighting for more people, and it was never given to them. Now they're being given, I hope, what they need, but that was a constant fight. They'd come to me and they'd say, you guys don't want to give us the people. And yet Biden was covered, and they'd have like 2 people show up. But Kamala is grossly incompetent, a total train wreck who has destroyed everything in her path. She's destroyed everything. She left 21 million aliens pour across our country, and then she, maybe in a short while, has to go home, and she'll get herself a job someplace, who knows. But think about it, and she can look at the carnage, and she can look at all the people that have been killed. And you haven't seen anything yet, because they've just started. They're just getting comfortable in our country. These are very tough people. These criminals make our criminals look like nice people. And she let the more than 13,000 convicted illegal aliens, nobody would have let these people into our country. And remember, they came out of the worst prisons in the world, the meanest, nastiest prisons in the world. And when she says that she wouldn't do anything different, does that mean that she would have let 325,000 migrant children probably die, most of them, many of them, but at a minimum they're slaves or they're sex slaves, and they're all over the country? Does that mean that she wouldn't have changed that? Does that mean that she wouldn't have changed so many of the other things that led to so much death and destruction, and even financial destruction of our country itself? We could end up in a depression because of what she's left with us. They are the worst combination, president, vice president, in the history of our country. And I often say Jimmy Carter's a happy man, because his administration, by comparison, was totally brilliant. It was brilliant. After Kamala endorsed defunding the police, she bailed out rioters, looters, and murderers, took them right out of jail during the violent crimes in the United States. Remember, that was in Minnesota. Minneapolis was burning down. It was burning to the ground. I watched the CNN announcer say, this is a friendly group of people. And over his shoulder, the entire skyline was burning. I've never seen it. But that's the fake news. But violent crime in the United States is up 37%. All of these different crimes are up anywhere from 37 to 105% over a very short period of time. And it's almost like nobody even cares about it. Very simply, Kamala Harris is not fit to be your president? We can't have it happen. We can't have it happen. We're going to make this country strong again. We're going to make it great again. We're going to be respected again. Her message has been a message of hate and division, and my message is about saving our economy, securing our border, bringing together the greatest and broadest coalition in American history. There's never been a coalition like this. Everybody's included. And on issue after issue, she broke it. They broke it together. But for purposes of this election, she broke it. Can't let her go. And I'm going to fix it, and I'm going to fix it very fast. And on the illegal, thank you very much. Thank you very much. On the illegal immigrants that will be taken out of the country, as you know, we're going to be taking them out. And if they come back, we have laws that will be immediately enacted where they serve 10 years in prison. They won't come back. And if that's not long enough, we'll have to do something else. But we don't want them back. They're not going to come back. And as you know, we're asking for the death penalty for any migrant who comes into our country and kills an American citizen or a police or law enforcement person. Because we have to protect our police. Our police are under siege also at numbers that nobody thought were possible, the worst they've ever seen. It's very hard to recruit. And really for not just the danger, it's hard to recruit because they don't have the spirit anymore for our country because they're being led with people that are spiritless. They really are spiritless. They can't instill spirit. But so that's any citizen, they get killed, it's the death penalty, and that includes police or law enforcement officers. But we're going to revive our economy. We're going to use a system of very fair, very reasonable tariffs. As I said, so powerful. We've never used them. I used them. China paid us hundreds of billions of dollars, and no other president's gotten 10 cents from China. China had a free ride, but so did many other countries. European Union is taking advantage of us. They don't take our product, and yet we take their product all over the place. We take their farming product. We take their cars left and right? BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, millions and millions. They don't take our cars. I said to Angela Merkel at the time, Angela, how many Chevrolets do we have in Berlin? Why? I don't believe you have any. I said, you're right about that, Angela. Well, we're going to change it. But they don't take our product. We have a deficit with them of over $300 billion. Think of that. And people think of them as friendly, but they're very tough and very fair. I mean, look, they united in order to take advantage of the United States. That's why they united. That's why they formed their coalition. And that was done to take advantage of the United States. So we know how to take advantage of them. We're going to take it back. We're going to take it all back. Those countries, many of those companies will be coming back. They'll be coming back because when they're told that they're going to have to pay a 25% tariff or 50% or 100%, we saved our steel industry when I imposed large tariffs on China steel coming in. They were dumping steel here by millions and millions and millions of yards of steel like nobody's ever seen. Our steel businesses were going out of business. We can't lose our steel industry. If for no other reason, our own security. We need steel. If we'd go to war, we're not going to go to war. We're not going to have World War III. But if we ever go to war, you better hope that we have a steel industry, or those beautiful tanks and everything else that we need to make won't be made. The planes, the tanks, the whole thing. And I saved it by imposing tariffs. They were dumping it. I think they were dumping it in order to destroy. Every steel plant would have been closed if I didn't do what I did. And we happen to be taking in, billions of dollars. In fact, it's so good that Biden has been trying his best to end it, but he's unable to do it. Too much money. It's been too much money. They're paying a fortune. But I would have had it a lot different. And we'll get along with China. We'll get along with Russia. We'll get along with everybody. We had the fake Russia hoax, which took 2 years. And then they came out with a report that we did absolutely nothing wrong. And that was a stacked deck too. The people doing it, they couldn't say there was nothing. We had nothing. They checked millions of phone calls, not one call made to Russia, not one call. It was a terrible thing they did to the country, and actually put us in a lot of danger, to be honest with you. If I didn't have somewhat of a relationship with Russia and Putin and all, we had to have it. And by the way, getting along with President Xi and Putin and Kim Jong-un of North Korea. If you remember when I met with Obama, his wife was very nasty to me the other day. That was not nice. She was very nasty. She said nasty things. I was always very respectful of her, but she got up there, which shows you how nervous they are about what's happening. But she was nasty 2 days ago. She got up and said some bad things she shouldn't have said. They were wrong too. But we're going to turn our country around, and we're going to pay a lot of respect to the three representatives, because that's what they are. They're representatives of millions of people. I mean, the businesses, so many businesses are just dying right now. There are millions and millions of people. They're representative of, and our wounded and our hurt soldiers. We have to take care of them. They came back from Afghanistan. Boy, nobody talks about them. They just don't talk about them. But I talk about them, and we're going to take care of them. You know, we had the greatest success with the VA, the Veterans Administration. We had a 92% approval rating. We got it so they had choice, because they were waiting 4 or 5, 6. They were waiting 4 or 5, 6 months, 7 months to see a doctor. And I came in and I got, with the help of some of the great Congress people that are here, we have some great ones. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. We've got quite a few of them. And I didn't even tell them to be here. They want to be here because they know exactly. Oh yes, very good. We have one of the greats, but they wanted to be here. A lot of people wanted. I didn't tell anybody to be here actually, but they wanted to be. But we have to take care of our military. Think of this: soldiers who are waiting 6 months to see a doctor. Can you imagine yourself? You don't feel good. You could be cured with a pill or with a shot or with something very minor, like a minor operation, and after 6 months you're now terminally ill. So I made it, and they've been trying to do this for 48 years. I made it. We call it choice, like school choice, which is also a very good thing, by the way. But we call it choice, where you have your choice. You go to a doctor. If you have to wait more than 1 day, you go outside, you get a doctor, you get yourself fixed up, and we pay the bill. And it's been unbelievable. I heard just the other day for the first time that Kamala and Biden are trying to destroy that. They're trying to make it so that you have to wait for 6 months again, back to where it was. We had a 92% approval rating, and now if they go back to that, you were going to have. I did another thing you weren't able to get because of civil service. You weren't able to get fire people. If somebody was a degenerate, if somebody was terrible, if they treated our heroes badly, we want them fired. We want them fired immediately. But we were unable to get them fired because they were protected by unions and by civil service. And I had it passed in Congress, which people have also been trying to get. And we were able to fire 9,000 people out of the VA and replace them with people that love our heroes, as opposed to sadists. We had sadists. We had sick people. We had sadists in there that really harmed our great people, our great veterans, and we were able to get rid of them. And we got them out, and we replaced them with people that can love and take care of these wonderful people that served us so well. So we did good. We had a 92% approval rating. They've been in the 40s and the 30s, and now it's heading back in that direction, I'm afraid. I hear they want to dismantle everything. And it's almost like you'd say, why? Why would they do that? Why would they do that? And yet they'll spend, you can't say money, because they give away hundreds of billions of dollars to anybody that needs it, but they won't take care of our veterans. They won't take care of our people. They won't take care of our soldiers. They won't take care of our elderly. They won't take care of anybody, but they give every time certain people come to town. They walk away with $100 billion for countries that many people have never even heard of. So I just want to tell you, this is a campaign that's been long and hard. I've been on the road or campaigning for 58 straight days. I haven't taken a day off. I'm proud of that. And I won't be taking one off. We have 7 days to go. You can be sure I won't be. And do many, many things every year. And I just want to end by, I've watched their commercials, and they're really fraudulent. They'll say, he doesn't want to frack. I've wanted to frack always. They'll say, everything exactly the opposite. Oh, I want to destroy Social Security. No, they're going to destroy. I'm the one that saved it. And for 4 years, we made it even better. I'm the one, and I didn't raise ages. I didn't do the things that they're going to do because they're allowing millions of these people to go onto Social Security, Medicare. They're going to destroy it. She's going to destroy the whole country because it's not sustainable by any country. But the ads and the statements that they make are exactly the opposite. They will say, oh, I'm going to raise taxes. He is going to raise taxes. Just the opposite. I'm going to lower taxes, and I have done that, but I'm going to lower taxes, and she's raising taxes by 30, 40, and 50%. But they'll have a commercial. And I just say this to you because I hope people understand. These people lie. They lie. They're very disingenuous. And we are going to finish up our campaign. And it's interesting because I haven't taken any time off for a long time. I tell you who can tell you about that, all the people that follow us, including the people in the campaign, but including Secret Service, who has been working very, very hard. I will tell you, they've really been working very hard. And yet a couple of days ago, she took off, and then she took off again and again and again. I say, how many times? You know, you're running for president of the United States. You had, like, at that time, about 20 days left. How the hell do you take off, right? You got to work. You got to work. So she says her teleprompter broke. Yeah, well, she better hope it doesn't. You know, they break. And if you don't know how to do it without a teleprompter, you got a problem. And she doesn't know how to do it without a teleprompter. So I just wish they'd stop lying, because the lies are vicious, and probably some people believe them. But the good news is 7 states, Republicans never lead in the early voting because for whatever reason, it's habit or it's a certain security they feel in going to the booth. They believe in principle. But we never lead in. I don't know if we've ever led in early. Every single state we're leading in. Every single state. At an early. And we don't need all of them, but at it early. And some states are in play that nobody thought would ever be in play. But I think people are seeing, because again, we're the party of common sense. We're the party of common sense. And we want to have strong borders. We want to have great elections. We want to have fairness. We don't do things like, we're not going to have men playing in women's sports. I mean, that's okay. So we're the party of common sense, and we're the party of fairness, and we have a coalition. Nobody's ever seen anything like, I don't think anybody has ever seen anything like what happened the other night at Madison Square Garden. The love in that room. It was breathtaking, and you could have filled it many, many times with the people that were unable to get in. But politicians that have been doing this for a long time, 30 and 40 years, said there's never been an event so beautiful. It was like a love fest, an absolute love fest, and it was my honor to be involved. And hopefully, you know, they started to say, well, in 1939, the Nazis used Madison Square Garden. Well, and you know what? But can you imagine that? In 1939, the Nazi, they were. But how terrible to say, right? Because, you know, they've used Madison Square Garden many times. Many people have used it, but nobody's ever had a crowd like that. And I tell you what, right now, nobody's ever had love like that. That was love in the room, and it was love for our country. It was really love for our country. So we're going to fight like hell for the next 7 days, and then hopefully... And then hopefully, And most importantly, we're going to be fighting even harder for the next 4 years because we're going to turn this around and we're going to make this country greater than it has ever been. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so I thought he was going to take questions, that it was going to be like an actual press conference, but it doesn't appear as though he's going to take any questions. He wanted to make a statement and just provide news. Interesting, very interesting. All right, so he's probably running to basically catch a plane right now because as you as you guys know, he's got to head to Pennsylvania. So as you see Trump walk out, security lead him back across the, it doesn't look like, maybe it could be a ballroom or something inside Mar-a-Lago. Not really sure where it is at this point, but he hit some points. He hit some really strong points against the Dems here. Took no prisoners for about an hour. It was pretty awesome how he systematically took shots at Kamala and the media. I'm sure, somebody had somebody had commented during the actual press conference. I'm going to leave it on so you guys can see him walk up. But somebody had commented they turned on CNN, and as soon as he got to the video about Jocelyn, who was the woman who was talking and her daughter was killed, it said CNN cut it. CNN cut to a talking head and didn't even bother showing the video. That's how you know they're losing. That's how you know they don't have any comeback. They don't have any way to discuss what's actually happening. When there's a video playing about a woman who lost her child specifically because newcomers did some really bad things. And CNN, sorry, we can't talk, we can't cover that. It made the beginning of my video today make all the sense in the world. They won't cover things they don't want you to know. They won't serve any food they don't think you should be able to consume. You're a grown-ass adult. There is no reason why you shouldn't be able to decide what exactly is news and what exactly isn't news. But for some reason, well, we know the reason, but while that woman was talking about her daughter having vile things done to her and then basically executed by some newcomers, CNN didn't think that was news that you needed to see. That is going to be the downfall of the media. And I'm pretty sure what Trump did today by coming out there and showing that video and talking about it and having those parents speak, he knows. Because I was wondering, why, with all of the options he has, with Truth Social, with X and everything else, why, and if you guys were here earlier, I said that. I said, why would he be going on and doing a press conference and inviting the media here? And I think we see why. They reacted specifically the way I told you they are reacting. They don't want you to see certain things. They will go out of their way and cut away so that real news, real information never reaches Americans. And that is basically going to be their downfall. He is systematically destroying that pillar that's been there forever, the media. They are done. They are toast. They're going to go away just like her. Smartly, Jeff Bezos sees it and goes, we need to change our ways. And you got, outlets like RSBN, you got people like me, you got people like Benny, you got people like Tim Pool and everybody else who are out there. You see this? You see this? And a lot of people are like, oh, I didn't know anything about that. I never saw that video. Oh, this is heartbreaking. But they don't want you to know that. That's specifically censorship. That is specifically trying to obfuscate so that the American people don't get all the information. A leading candidate for the presidency and a former president is showing you something, and you, as a program director at CNN or MSNBC, are deciding that having some talking head talk is more important than the message he's trying to get out. And that's specifically why you guys are going to go down the tubes. Right down the tubes. You're interfering. It basically is election interference. And I just wonder if some of this stuff that he's doing is not to lay the breadcrumbs so that when he comes after them and when he has the FCC speak to them and fine them or charge them for their license, if he's not going to say, you're not news. You're an opinion. You are basically a giant podcaster. You are spending 12 hours a day with opinion. So let's take the news off of that and just call you an opinion network, because that's all you are. You are masquerading as news, and people should know that. It should not be CNN. It should be CPNs, whatever C stands for, podcast network, because you have a whole bunch of little podcasts. You got Jim Acosta, and you've got this person and that person, and each one has their own show. Well, let them stand on their own. You're no longer news. Compete against everybody else. And when you show your crap on the air, people will realize this is just an opinion. It's not news. Declare your bias. If you truly are the way you are, then declare your bias. Just come out and say it. Yeah, we are pro-Democrats. We're not in the middle. We're not Switzerland. We are a pro-Democrat podcast. Perfect. I won't have a problem with that. Click. I don't have to watch it ever again. Because right now you're masquerading as news. Things are happening quickly. Before I go, let me just check the poly market and see, because the numbers have been crazy. It hasn't changed. He's still up by 33 points in the poly market. It's getting to that point. I've said it a few times. Once you're inside this window of 10 days, 9 days, 8 days, there's not much that's going to change. It's pretty much baked in. That's why the pollsters just go, we're done. That's pretty much it. See what you can do. Close it out. See if you can convince any people who might be on the sidelines. At this point, it's over. And I want you to say that. And people always say, oh, well, don't get complacent. Anything. I'm an adult. I know. Robin and I already voted. There's no complacency about it. You got to do your part. Assuming you do your part and vote, this thing is over. Now we just got to, navigate through after November 5th and figure out what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. And keep your eyes open, stay frosty, understand they're capable of doing anything. I'm hoping personally that Trump finishes off these last rallies and then heads to a bunker someplace. Maybe just stay at Mar-a-Lago, whatever you want to say. Put a bubble around it, dome, something. Make sure this man stays safe. Make sure he stays absolutely safe, and let them do their craziness and just stay out of the fray. One story that popped up while we were doing this, I'm going to investigate it more and look at it. Not really investigate, but research it. There's stories out there now that the DHS is taking or trying to take children away from the people who are homeless because of the hurricane up in Nashville. That, my friends, could turn into something really nasty. If you think that FEMA or DHS is going to just waltz into someone's house or tent and take their kids, that could be the trigger for your civil war. Don't think that these people are going to just like, oh yeah, here's little Buffy, go ahead and take her, everything's okay. Oh hell no. Not only were you not here to help, now you want to take my kids? Man, it could get real squirrely up there in a heartbeat. So I'm going to talk to some people and see if that's actually happening, if I can confirm it. And then I'll contact the people at Samaritan's Purse and say, what do we need to do to make sure these people have safety so people aren't taking their kids? I couldn't even imagine it. So it is now 12:24. I'm going to get something to eat. And then after I get something to eat, he's supposed to be at this round table in Drexel Hill, Pennsylvania, I was planning on going live at 1 o'clock. Yeah, that's not going to happen. He just walked off the stage. So I'm glad I didn't announce a time. He's in Palm Beach. I know where his plane is. I know where it's parked. Even if he jumped in a car right now and went right to the airport, he's not going to be in Drexel Hill, Pennsylvania in half an hour. Ain't going to happen. So we're probably looking at about 2:30. So I'm going to post the information so you guys can come back and watch that round table. I'm thinking somewhere between closer to 2:15, 2:30, but I'll put it up so you guys can see it. Thank you very much for tuning in. Let me go ahead and look at acknowledging the people who provided super chats, and then we can adjourn for a couple hours, and then we'll be back here. All right, so let's do this. Make sure everybody can be seen. Let me go to this window. Democrats must see this stuff and just freak out, just completely freak out. I understand a bunch of you guys posted that J.D. Vance will be on Joe Rogan's show, so Kamala blew him off, didn't want to go to his terms, and so J.D. Vance, well, he'll take it. All right, Gina Duncan, thank you. Hillary calls us deplorables, and Kamala calls us now Nazis from the movie. Big Cat, bury your early bird today. Mag is on point. I didn't plan on being at 9:30. No, I didn't plan it. Last night, somebody texted me or DM'd me on X and go, hey, you know you got an early one tomorrow. I'm like, no, I don't have anything. There's nothing on the schedule. Oh, he decided to call an impromptu presser. All right. So now I got to figure out, he's probably going to do something every single day. I mean, we know he's got rallies after rally after rally, but who knows what else he'll put in there. Chris A., thank you. Pao Zhao Li. Trump wins, all win. Trump lose, all lose. Eric, get off the couch and go vote. Very, very good. Ryan J., good morning. Doing my delivery job and listening. Iowa for Trump 2024. You go, bro. Mama Mima, they forget how much of their content is on X. Yep, I don't think they forget. I don't think they understand what happens when they post crap and how it's clipped and put out there so everybody can see their insanity. Absolutely. That clip with CNN was just otherworldly, watching them scream at each other on national television. Demon of Cybertron, people doing their own research results and electing better and competent people. Yep, that's what they don't want. Agreed. R. Heath, better he says this. Let's not nitpick his comment. Let's subscribe to WAPO. Yep, watch him change that entire newspaper. Ryan J., read this. How do you know they won't stop counting the votes at midnight in Pennsylvania and restart at 3 a.m. like in 2020? The only way I can have any confidence is I believe that Laura Trump has put together an organization and has the people ready in case that kind of BS is tried. MP JD Vance is going on JRE tomorrow. Wow. Took that slot like that. Oh, so Vice President Harris, you're not coming? Nope. Okay, hey JD, let's do this. She's an idiot. Absolute idiot. Child of God. God has spoken. Trump will win. The only way he loses is because they steal it. However, thousands of believers are praying today until November 5th. Agreed. Penny Quarter, the worst thing the DOJ and Dems could have ever done is to jail Steve Bannon. Man, this guy is going to come out throwing flame for sure. Child of God again. I'm a black woman who was a lifelong Democrat until 3 years ago. God started showing me things about Kamala in my dreams, and I did my research for the first time. This patriot voted for Trump. Salute. Realtor Josh, the man who parks rockets. He does. He did. I was amazed. Trump talks about it in his rallies, but we all saw it, and I was like, did that rocket just come in and pull into its slot like that? I can't even imagine the amount of engineering it took to make that happen. Juliet, Tim Walz had an affair with a Chinese communist daughter. How will they find out if this is accurate? Well, it's already been confirmed from what I understand. What I don't understand, well, actually I do, is how the media completely ignores the story. See, that's the other thing. In addition to basically putting out crap, they ignore real stories. Didn't want you to see the video that Trump showed. Don't want to talk about Tim Walz. It's crazy. And in fact, that whole thing about AOC and Tim Walz playing Madden, no, they weren't. And Tim Walz just exposed himself. Oh, she's going to call a pick six. People are like, you can't call a pick six, you idiot. Lynn Geldmeyer, love to see Mr. Musk putting something in play to block the steal. If he can land a rocket, he could. See, that's another thing. People say, how do you think they can stop this? Well, we have someone who can park a rocket. This rocket can come from outer space and land. He sent up basically a space ambulance to go get the astronauts. I'm pretty sure he's got some way of checking things out here terrestrially, and putting I can't even imagine what the things they must have in place. Trump said, "Don't do it. Don't cheat." Just another knucklehead again. My understanding was the voting machines changed numbers to split values of a vote, such as a vote for Trump. Excuse me, gets 0.4 and the 0.6 goes to Biden. Yeah, that's what some people said, but it's still going to be very hard to do. The numbers have to be what they are. If that 0.4 number basically exceeds, excuse me, if that 0.4 number basically exceeds the number of votes, and I'm sure there are people looking into the code, like Elon. Kathy Bennett, love your channel. Thank you very much. Holy moly, Rumble and free speech platform Gab are owned by American Christians. Discouraging Americans from American-owned platforms is off color. No, I don't think discouraging anyone from American-owned platform. X is an American-owned platform. You do understand it, right? Okay. Tijuana border jumper. Thank you, Barry. You're a great American hero. I got something in my throat. Tijuana border jumper again. We the people will take back our country. Vote now if you can. Take your ballots to the Registrar of Voters yourself. Don't trust the Postal Service. And you know, when people say we're going to take back our country, just make it not just be about elected politicians. Take it back all over the place. Take it back in the media. Take it back in your DMV. Dude, now is the time for us to just clear the slate. Put these people back in the sewer where they belong. William Flanagan, desperate Dems have resorted to setting ballot boxes on fire. How bad is that? They're going to burn the votes. Wow. Marcus Anderson, hey brother, imagine ruining my business and I give you a promotion. Bye, Kamala. Ivan Criado, thank you. Melted, thank you. It's Trump's letter about a woman and a snake. So accurate. Yep, the snake. Caroline Charter, thank you. Misty Elliott, Joshua 1:9. Have I not commanded you to be strong and courageous? Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Thank you very much for that. Where are we? Did I miss something? Oh, Donna, I lost everything in Helene and Asheville, but I lost the will to live in the U.S. from Kamala. It's hard to tell which is worse. Well, obviously, the other stuff is material. If she pulled your will from you, then we need to help you build that back. Don't let anyone take your will, especially your will to live. It's not worth it. If you need someone to talk to, I mean, we've got mods here that you can reach out to. You can reach out to me on X. Don't let anyone take away your will to live. I'm being completely serious at this point. Logic or not, thank you. 132 million was sent to Lebanon to help rebuild. That is $1.7 million per household, and FEMA was only given $21 million. That's $750 per household here. No, it's not fair at all. It's definitely not America first. Kelly Panetsky, thank you. Biscuit Boy again, stop the steal and the illegals. Donna again, I have not seen it yet, but no children will ever be taken from here. Guarantee you. Oh yeah, I know. There's a video that's going on X. I'll show it before the round table this afternoon, but a woman is basically pleading, but I need to make sure it's actually real and not just something that somebody put up. Miracles in God. I wish I had billions. I'd build fully furnished homes for Asheville. Good man, good woman. And Doc Mojo, thank you. Did you see Nevada said they would receive mail-in ballots without postmarks up to 3 days after the election? Yeah, they're going to cheat. They're going to do whatever they possibly can. Again, they can't beat the math. That's the thing. If you get out there, do what you have to do, swamp the vote, as I think that's Laura Trump's pace. Swamp the vote, make it too big, and then it doesn't matter after that. All right, so we're going to look to get together at about 2:15. I'll track and see how close to being on time he is. But round two at about 2:15 or so. Talk to you then.